There we go. Welcome to Two Guys and the Mic podcast. I'm your host, Jason Thompson, on a special edition of the podcast. Three guys and some beers here. We got a special guests, Mr. Sean Morses and Mr. Adams. Hopefully we can get this right this time because we've been having some issues with our audio and everything else. So hopefully,
technical difficulties.
Yeah, that's what happens when you go live, right?
Somebody said, "What a great podcast!" I said, "Why?" They go, "Because we didn't hear a word you guys said."
That's right. We had a podcast last 2 weeks ago, and it was great. It was an hour and a half long. We talked about all sorts of cool stuff, and well, we had no audio. So here we are. Hopefully, a take two, and we have a good time with it. So. All right. So since last we spoke, a whole lot of crap has happened.
Yeah, California is burnt down, and
you're supposed to take it closer to the mic.
and Trump is taking office, and
Yeah. And the Democrats are losing their mind nationally.
Listen, I think out of all my life in politics, it's never been more fun than right now. Because all you have to do is turn on the TV, and James Brown is not dead. He's still alive, right?
I feel good.
I feel good, but it's really that Maxine Waters. I'm watching, I'm going, James Brown's in politics? and it sounds, this Waters woman comes out, and I said, she sounds like James Brown after a 3-day bang.
She looks like she's dead.
She's screaming and yelling, and I'm saying she's taking it to the streets, and she's gonna beat everybody.
Taking it to the streets.
I said,
Woo!
James Brown, you go! I can't believe this.
I think somebody needs to take her to the rim.
Oh my God!
With that big mouth pass back.
It's funny. You look at what Donald Trump has done in the last 3 weeks, and it's been a whirlwind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
You wonder what the frig did all these other presidents do? I mean, what? I have never seen so much being done so quick, so fast. I mean, incredible.
He is so good that he got the Democrats to do something, right? Yeah. Because I haven't heard from him in 4 years. And now they're on TV. I can't even put I go to Facebook, they're on every reel there is. They're screaming, they're yelling, they're fighting.
They're engaged.
He got them fired up.
Jesus.
And now they know what the word Constitution means.
Yes.
Too.
Yeah.
I've never heard them say that before.
Constitutional crisis.
Crisis here, crisis there.
Tell me what the crisis is.
You know what? He is doing exactly what they did for the last 4 years. I mean, they've, but it was okay when they did it. It's a constitutional crisis when Donald Trump does it.
Look, it's the first time in at least my lifetime that they are peeling back the banana and finding every dirty dollar that the Democrats, and I've been a Democrat for 40 years, but the Democrats have used for their own little money laundering bullshit.
Nest eggs.
It's really what it is. How does Maxine Waters, I got to keep bringing her up because every time I turn
I think he likes Maxine Waters.
I think I like her. I don't know. I'm not sure if it's Maxine or if it's I don't know. I don't know what I know. Here's what I know.
She's like 75 years old.
$10 million.
Oh, yeah.
How does this woman who can't talk and babbles on have $10 million when she never made more than $160,000
So
a year?
they said they had a cool meme I saw on, I think it was TikTok. They did like a progression of years there. Forever Young, they had the song in the background. And it was Pocahontas.
Oh,
and,
yeah, I see. I put it on Facebook, too.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
And back in 1981, when she was just starting in politics, she was worth $100,000.
Yeah.
And this year, she's worth $12 million.
Yeah.
On a $100,000 salary.
Not bad.
Wow, I want to have that. I want to have that investment return like that.
Well, either these people are geniuses in the stock market,
Well, not all.
or they know something that we don't know.
Not all of them are geniuses.
No, they're not
Only
genius.
one, right?
Yeah, well, actually, Pelosi's a genius.
Yes,
Pelosi's a genius.
She's better than anybody who's ever invested in the history of investing.
She does have her own website.
She's got her own
Pelosi
website.
Tracker.
Yeah, how many people have that?
I was told that there's a website coming out that follows all of the politicians' investments in real time.
Oh, there is.
Yeah, well, Pelosi has one.
Yeah, and then I
Well,
realized,
not her, but people.
well, the
have
funny
one.
part is none of them invest. It's all their husbands and wives.
Oh yeah,
So everybody in Congress married some of the smartest investors in America.
sun-kissed tuna, man.
Sun-kissed tuna. How the hell did it happen?
I don't know. Let's bring it back to the first thing you mentioned. What was your overall take on the fires? I know you like your conspiracy theories. What do you think here? I mean, all of a sudden, I mean,
Well,
Gavin Newsom, which now Trump is actually calling him Gavin Newsom, which I think is funny. He's toned that down a little bit. You think this is a land grab? What do you think?
It's a massive land grab, I think.
I'm gonna go for more of this G's kettle corn. Actually,
No, take two.
geez, kettle corn. I bought some at the mall. Best stuff I ever had.
That's good. No, but
sweet and salty.
it is crazy when you take that 40,000 look view and look at the battlefield and see that everything that was burned down is in line with this high speed rail that they've been working on, spending $50 million or $1 billion on so far. LA is on the list of these 15-minute cities.
I really have a different.
Smart LA, as Gavin says.
Yeah, I have a different theory. I think.
Let's hear it, Sean.
Well, I think Nancy Pelosi's husband has a lot of money in the smelt business, and so they divert all the water down to keep his fish alive, and
Yeah.
and that's how
He's in debate.
So
He's in the bait.
so California has to burn down so Pelosi's can make some millions in the smelt business.
I just can't imagine. Think about you've lost your house, you've lost everything, and you're fighting with an insurance company, and you're finding out all this money that's been spent abroad, billions of dollars, and your insurance company doesn't want to pay for your house that you've been paying for years. I don't know how I would react to that. I think I would lose my mind.
Well, it's sad.
And just the timing, too.
You can joke about it, but a lot of these things, like Hawaii and California and North Carolina, they all happen around this certain time of something big that's supposed to explode in politics, right? Or some kind of, person who wants to invest all this money to build these beautiful houses in Hawaii on the land that's been left from generation to generation. And remember, I told you, I always wondered, why would you let all the kids out of school when the fire's raging in Hawaii?
Yeah.
When I was a kid,
Shelter in place.
as stupid as it was, they said the bomb's coming, get under your desk. Like it may not have saved my life, but at least you knew where I died.
You watch those
They knew where to find
videos. You watch those videos of the buildings being vaporized,
but
and get under your desk. You'll be safe.
Yeah, but
You'll
at
be
least they
safe.
knew where you were, right? They said, there's his bones. He's under the desk. The poor kids.
Well, at least he listened.
yeah, at least they listened.
That's Sean's gold teeth right there.
Oh, look, he was actually in the fetal position.
Yeah, he's got his ass in the air. Why Sean got his ass in the air? Listen, I don't know. I have no idea.
Maxine Waters was in the
Maxine
room.
Waters.
No, but it is very coincidental that Maui was also on the
That's
on
what I'm
the
saying.
World Economic Forum's list of 15-minute cities.
It's scary to think.
So was Asheville.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. All three of them were on some radar to do some major investment and some major.
Have some of G's kettle corn.
It's good.
But it's at one point I would have said, you're all a bunch of fucking nuts to even believe all this stuff.
That's the problem.
Now I go, I'm not so sure they're nuts. I'm starting to think I got to go back to drinking some more of this beer because
Which you haven't even opened it.
because I'm on a diet. I got diabetes.
It's liquid.
I know, but the problem.
Listen,
look at
if you told me you're on a protein diet, right? They say it's a pork chop in every bottle.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you're okay.
I look
Sandwich.
like a
Sandwich?
It's a sandwich and everything.
I look like a pork chop. Here's my problem. Everybody who knows me, moderation is not in my game. I take a sip of this beer, and then I drink the 12-pack. I eat your popcorn with one bite, and I'd be in the box out there nibbling through about 6 more.
My father used to always say, everything in moderation,
Yeah.
except beer and sex. That's what he used to say all the time. And look at him. He's
My father used
83
to
years
say-
old.
My father used to say to me, moderation's for pussies. Out there and fucking keep going, right?
And how old is he?
He's 78 years
Well,
old.
there you go. You see, so you got plenty to go. Open your beer, crack it open.
Yeah,
As I'm drinking my soda. So I
Yeah,
can't
that's
say
good for you, too.
well, Coca-Cola.
Two guys and
But no, all kidding aside, right? At one point, a lot of this stuff you could just say, I can never believe that it would happen.
No.
It just would not happen.
There's so many coincidences.
Yeah, there's no more coincidence anymore. All the shit that's happening, I feel like there's a reason behind it. The fires in California, the fires in Hawaii, North Carolina.
And especially when they were told, like literally Trump said years ago, and I think just
On
a
tape.
couple months, and they laughed at him. A couple months ago, or a month or so prior to the fires, he said it again, and guess what happened?
Yeah. And where was the government when these insurance agencies come in and said, well, we're just going to cancel everybody? The government has to be able to have some role and say you can't sell.
Well, because it makes no sense because your bank won't allow you not to have insurance on your home.
Well, that's
so that how can the bank, an insurance company, just suddenly pull out of a state? Well, you're required to have insurance on your home.
I'm glad you said that because I got a story and it
I'm here to feed your thought process.
Yeah. It bothers me, right? Because a friend of mine bought a house in Florida on the canal.
Oh yeah.
Couple $100,000, right?
Florida's a massive
their
scam.
whole life savings, right? And California, Florida, all these places. What did I say? It was Florida. She bought the house
Florida,
right?
yeah.
on the canal. But all of these places have skyrocketed for the cost of insurance, right? So now
And one insurance company to cover them all.
she's got a little dream. She buys this little place on the canal, and next thing you know, she's got to come up with $1,000 a month just for the
Yeah.
insurance. And
crazy.
she says, "Wait a minute, this is
More than their mortgage.
well, this is like a double wide. It's not, and I paid more than I should have because it was my dream and I want to live here."
And COVID.
And so now she's like, "I can't afford to pay for the mortgage and the insurance. It's like $4,000 a month." So she goes, "You know what I'm going to do? I guess I'm going to have to hope that my place doesn't, get caught up in a flood or burn down, but I'm going to cancel the insurance." And that's what happened. She called the bank, said, "We're going to cancel the insurance." The bank called her back and said, "Oh, not so fast, my friend.
Yeah.
You got a mortgage, and therefore you need to have the insurance."
Yeah.
Why?
You're damned if you do.
So how
damned if
can
you
they
don't.
go to California and the insurance company cancel it and the bank doesn't say, "Oh, not so fast. You can't."
I'm actually really surprised that California doesn't have something like the flood insurance thing.
Well, they do, but it's only pennies on the dollar.
Well, again, I'm surprised they don't have something like that, like we have here for homes that are in floodplains, where it's a federally, capped insurance type of thing, and it's managed by locally, but it's by insurance company, but it's federally regulated.
I know that there's a California,
Business.
right?
You know? Just like you can't,
There is a California fire insurance bank, but there's
Yeah, but you're not
enough
allowed.
money.
Yeah,
again,
but the
you're
problem
like
is,
pennies on the dollar.
Yeah, no money.
but the problem is you can't even fire protect your house. Like if you look at some of these houses. I mean, my thought process was if I have a multi-million-dollar home, and I'm on the ocean, and I have enough money, obviously, because if you can afford that kind of house, you have money. But why wouldn't you drill a well, put a battery backup, put sprinklers on your house when there is going to be a fire, and they won't let you? That's how nuts is
How
that?
about something more simple? How about if you have a house in the middle of the forest, you're allowed to cut down enough branches and trees and grass so that if there is a fire, it can't spread to your house because they won't let you.
It's crazy.
They
can't
want
prune
to
it.
tax your rainwater.
You can't prune the tree.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if this is real or if it's sometimes Trump goes off on a tangent. I don't know if he's
Really?
It's mostly on purpose. I will say
right.
that.
So he's even confused the old Democrat here. But was there that much water coming down off the mountains, diverted to the ocean to
Yes.
save Nancy Pelosi's fish? That they
Yes.
So there's actually two.
There was 2 reservoirs that were empty because they were diverting that water.
The first one is federal, which Trump turned on. They call it the Trump pump. And then that goes to another reservoir, which is state-owned, and that's the one that Gavin wouldn't turn on to allow to go down.
They hate.
Could you imagine you're a fireman in a neighborhood that is on fire? You hit you tap a fire hydrant and there's nothing.
So I'll tell you, I know this guy was.
I'd be
a
so
fireman
fucking
for 28 years, who's tapped into a few fire hydrants and goes, "Oh shit, it's broke."
Really?
So it happens.
But
Yeah,
not,
not all of
but
them.
not dry.
Not on that scale.
I mean, nuts.
I mean, I've had houses burning right in front of me. I go to turn the hydrant on and it's broken and it just keeps spinning, and you go, "Oh shit!" But you're lucky enough to have a hydrant, another 100 feet away.
I was gonna say 100 feet away.
We're talking about like a whole entire state in the place where the forest
And
burns.
nobody
that are blowing dust.
was held accountable. Who got fired over this?
Nobody.
Nobody.
Not yet.
I mean, and Bash is still the mayor of LA.
I think Guantanamo is going to get real full.
Don't you remember a couple years ago when there was a code enforcement officer in Schenectady, and
Yes, the fire.
right, he said he went in and checked everything, and he still to this day says, "I did. Maybe I didn't do the full checklist, but I checked all the things that were important." And then the place
Burns
down.
and a bunch of people
He
died.
went to jail
Yeah.
for the very same thing that these people done in California.
For
Yeah.
a state
But but it's politicians, and politicians ain't going to put politicians in jail. It's like asking the government to oversee itself and think that it's going to do the right thing.
Well, we saw what happens when we expect that. Doge is finding all those problems.
Well, hey, listen, it's amazing.
Billions a day.
Has anybody looked at the Doge calculator today at all?
I didn't look at it today.
I know it was like 40-something billion in the first week.
40. Imagine that. Yeah. Imagine all the fraud and waste.
Yeah, but come on, you're only hearing one side of it because the other side's screaming.
Okay, Democrat. What the? Here, the Democrats coming out now.
Yeah. No, you hear the whole other side screaming that it's not real.
Yeah, because they don't want to get caught with their hands in the cookie jar.
Well, let me just tell you something. I am a Democrat, and I believe it's real because I seen it when I was in local politics. I seen the waste. I seen the things that they would buy. If you buy a sneaker that's $100, they're buying it for $1,600. Everything is a scam.
And also the thing with politics and government, as opposed to like the private practice, if a private industry goes defunct, it's oh, too bad you went bad. But if the government goes bad, it's we didn't have enough funding.
So on the they have an app that or a website you can go on.
Yeah, Doge Tracker.
Yeah, Doge Tracker. So their goal is within 550 days is to save $2 trillion.
I think they can.
So they're at 2% of their goal. And they have $303 billion. I'm sorry, 45. I can't read the point. $45.7 billion so far. And that's $303 per taxpayer that we saved in a week. A week.
Jump change.
Yeah, of course, to them. What kills me is it's not the dollars that bother me. It's what the initiatives were being paid. With the things that we're supporting, if they're finding this fraud and it's to build a bridge to nowhere in Alaska, or it's to pay for a scientist in Albany to look at the blue car butterfly, or it's whatever, money's being spent here. The problem with this money, it's not being spent here. It's being spent for bullshit abroad, and that's what pisses me off. EV charging station in Vietnam. Tree meetings in the Amazon.
Transgender plays in Guatemala.
Sesame Street in Iraq. Come on. Look, you know and I know it. The reason it goes to other countries is because
it comes right back into their pocket.
Sure. If I took $100 million from Cahoes and sent it over to Detroit, somebody'd say, hey, Sean sent $100 million over to Detroit. But if I send it to like it was a USAID.
Yeah,
right?
USAID.
Okay? So USAID is a run by a bunch of bureaucrats, a bunch of private employees, right? It's not truly a governmental agency. It's a governmental slush fund run by a bunch of people who can't be held accountable like the politician. So the politician says, I earmark $60 million for this. And then the bureaucrat gets it and sends it to wherever they want to. And there's nobody going to keep.
It's a corrupt money laundering.
It's money laundering.
You wait till they start. You wait till they start going through the accountability for what we pay out in foreign aid. Well, I mean, 179 countries get foreign aid to the United States. Our neighbor to the north, Canada, gets $10 billion.
Canada couldn't even exist without the United States.
Oh yeah.
The
funny thing is, well, here's the funny thing is, I was watching CBC, which is Canadian Broadcast Corporation. They were following a lot of the prime ministers came down to Canada to Washington yesterday to speak to somebody in Trump, and one of the reporters says, we're spending $85,000 a month for lobbying of U.S. officials. Are we getting our money's worth? Who the frig is getting that money to lobby for Canada? Why is this being allowed?
Probably these lifelong politicians that become multimillionaires on $100,000 a year.
But I think Trump should do an executive action. Lobbying should be banned.
Well,
and journalists.
listen, if you that's what America is, though, right?
Well,
you have the freedom to go there. We're a pluralist society. We all have different wants and needs. Somebody's always out there trying to get those.
If you're lobbying for something in the United States, I'm okay with that. I have a problem with foreign lobbying.
I don't completely have a problem with helping other countries. I mean, the United States is a great country, and we were a wealthy country.
No, just people ask still if we're a great country, as they live in tents.
I said we were a great country.
We still.
Oh, this is the best country in the world.
It's the best country in the world.
Yeah.
Are we the greatest country in the world right now?
We sure used to be.
I think the country is. I think the blueprint is. I think the people running it are not.
Yeah.
I think you are. I think you are. We can all be assholes. We can all make
even
mistakes.
Matt
Even God over there.
God who can talk. God.
That's affirmative.
There he is.
Huh? Hallelujah. Where's Maxine Waters? She's singing up a storm, right? But
The fish out of water.
James Brown didn't need my wig.
She does look like James.
she looks
Brown
like James
so
Brown with
bad.
a half a load on. And she talks like him too. But
Could you imagine her and Nancy Pelosi doing a duet?
Did you ever see the Did you ever see the video of her though? Side note, she's like standing there and it's a mask. There's a clear cut like rubber line
on her
And
face.
she-
You
and
like
she-
your masks.
What do you
You
mean?
know,
If you
you-
take her face off, she's a boy or something?
Oh, she could be an actor.
Alien.
But you
be
know what the difference between a conspiracy theory and the truth is, right?
1 degree.
6 months.
6 months.
You're right. You're right. Let me just get back to what I was saying.
Yes, go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry.
We digress.
The people of this country are great people. And we care about other countries. We care about little babies dying in Africa. We care about people starving to death. We care about disease,
Well,
ravishing.
I don't think anybody has wronged those initiatives.
But the problem is that's not where the money
Correct.
is going.
And
It's kind of like giving money to a local organization and finding out that only 30% of the money goes to the cause.
Red Cross.
I was going to say the same thing, but God took
I'm not
words
gonna
out of
say
my
the
mouth.
names because
That's
I don't-
on the list.
But you see what I'm
Yeah.
saying, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's
So-
because the people that run this stuff, they don't think like we do. They don't have the compassion.
Well, they
and the
do. They're getting
humanity.
kickbacks.
T2T, 95% of
They will burn down
Every month.
California.
Every
Every month
single-
I give my money to towers.
every
Hunters
penny
Towers.
they get, except for 5%. There has to be an expense.
There's always an
right?
administrative cost,
But
sure.
think about that. When you're giving your money to somebody who's giving it back
Geez,
95%, it's amazing. When you find out that the government is, there was a $1.5 million was being paid to I don't know, an entity. It's probably one guy. It's probably Nancy Pelosi's nephew. To do nothing but watch the
mail.
not even do anything. Just like go in and go, okay, the slots are there. I'll be back in a month.
How crazy.
1.5 million.
What about the limestone cave, Iron Mountain?
Meanwhile,
All
he's
on
doing-
paper with
What
manila
about a
envelopes. And,
transgender coloring book. I'd like to see what you're coloring in that book.
listen, I don't have a problem. I have no problem with my money going to help
disgusting when you
malaria.
look into it.
I have no problem with my money going to help malaria,
Neither
or
do I.
eradicate malaria, or you know, I don't know. There are so many things you could spend money on. I really do think we need accountability, and that's what I'm trying to think who it was that came out and said that. I think it was who's our Secretary of State? Rubio. Rubio came out and said the problem is there's no accountability as to where the money's being spent anymore.
Well,
These are huge pet projects for
Why do you think
and
they're up in
kickbacks.
arms?
you
Yeah.
own a business.
Yeah.
When you write a check, don't you have some kind of ID to the company it's going to, the reason it went there, a way to look up where the check went? If somebody called and said, I didn't get my check, you can look and say, oh, we sent. Elon Musk is saying we're sending out billions of dollars.
Dead people,
Well, they don't even have a number.
and
on
the checks are
check.
being cashed.
Oh yeah.
There's
yeah.
no
It's like
number.
$100 billion or
Yes.
something from the treasury.
So if you say, hey, where did that check go? They go, I don't know.
See, all those numbers, because they haven't been verified, are not in that Doge tracker yet. Wait till those numbers start adding up.
wait till Elizabeth
There's
Warren gets
no
out there.
reason why these Democrats are screaming
Cheekbones.
other than they got caught.
Oh, that's exactly why they're screaming.
There can be. Look at the Democrats have been run the last 2 years, right? The Democrats ran the House, the Senate, and the president, right? So they were in charge of everything. So anything that's going wrong, they got to look in the mirror. Now, all
Well,
of a sudden,
honestly, do you actually think that Joe Biden knew of anything that was going on?
I don't think
He knew.
You want to know the truth?
Weekend at Bernie's. It was the presidential run at
I
Bernie's.
don't think the majority of elected officials
Know what's going on.
Know what's going on. The country, the county, the state, the city, a bunch of employees bureaucratic employees, not elected, run the show. Whether even, I was the mayor of a city.
Unelected.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
I was the mayor of the city. The DPW commissioner isn't elected. He's running the DPW, right?
I think
the fire chief ain't elected. The police chief. They're running the show.
I think it was Ronald Reagan that said, "You ever want to find out what's going on in the White House? Ask the cook."
Yes, that's a good one, but he's right.
Because
And he also said the scariest words that you can hear are,
I'm from the government. I'm here to help.
That's probably the
Thanks for
greatest
taking
quote in
it.
politics.
Yeah, I'm here.
yeah.
But I can't understand these clowns up there screaming, Elon Musk ain't elected, Elon Musk. And then I sit back for a minute and go, once upon a time there was this guy named Dr. Fauci.
Yeah, he was never
This
elected.
guy wasn't elected either.
And he
But
destroyed
shut
our
down
country.
The whole entire country. He put people out of business. I couldn't even piss without a mask on. I couldn't even go to the gym. You couldn't go out and get something to eat. Your kids couldn't go to school. He shut down the entire world.
I can tell
But
you.
RFK isn't qualified.
I can tell you that, and
talk to you
as
about health.
God is my witness and strike me down dead if I lie, my life did not change at all during
didn't-
COVID.
yeah, I never
I
complied.
still went out to dinner. I still went to my favorite places for lunch. I still went out with my
Well, you're
family.
lucky, 'cause that-
I did not, and I refused to wear a mask. I remember I was in a local liquor store. I walked in. I didn't have my mask, and I had my cart full of liquor, and the guy goes, "You gotta have a mask." I said, "Are you willing to give up this order here? Because I'm not wearing no mask." As his mask had a slit in it so he could
Well,
breathe.
they had him down on their
Yeah.
nose.
He goes, "Well, just finish up your order quickly, please. I don't want to cause any problem." I'm like, "You got it." I've walked into Stewart's one time. She goes, "You need a mask?" I said, "I'm out of here." And I
But
went
there
to
was
her.
a time when they shut down all the places.
Yeah.
There was a time that it
I
did
can
this-
tell you, I didn't shut my business down.
but-
I got into an argument with a lady at Stewart's about the mask thing. It was the night that Cuomo removed the mask thing. It was at midnight. I was there at 8 o'clock, and she's like, "You need a mask." I'm like, "The mask is down at midnight. Are you really gonna?
It wasn't a
Are
law.
you really gonna do that?"
It wasn't a law. You didn't have to abide by it. Only a bunch of freaking lemmings would abide by that.
I always made him tell me, if anything.
But the moral of the story is they're screaming about a guy who's digging through the money that we should all be happy about, right?
Yeah.
But they
Finding
don't
the
talk.
corruption.
Yeah, they don't talk about what he's finding. Just
No,
that
they bash him for being the president, non-elected. And I look at that Fauci and I think to myself, nobody ever had more power over the United States of America
Fauci.
than Dr. Fauci, who got rich.
Listen. Let's
who
not
lied.
call him doc. That's giving him street cred. Fauci, the criminal.
We'll call him Fauci, but he was a criminal. He got wealthy.
Oh, they want to put a freaking museum for him.
Yes, they did. 129,000.
Oh
for a
my
painting.
God.
Did you ever read that RFK book that he wrote?
No.
Fauci's disgusting. If people read that book, you'd be blown away.
He's an evil. Man.
Give me a Fauci by RFK for Dummies abridged version.
Demosphere, AIDS, pandemic.
Yeah, the dog
They
thing.
were eating dogs in the
Well, no, they would paralyze dogs and do this testing, and not in this country. They do it on some island somewhere in the ocean because you can't do it here, so
Sure.
you do it somewhere else. But they would literally paralyze dogs, let fleas attack them, remove their voice boxes so they couldn't bark. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
The orphan children in Ohio. They did all these testings on these. It's disgusting. If people,
Yeah, the world is crazy.
If they hadn't,
Fauci did this?
Oh yeah.
Dude has been involved in this fishy ass shit for a long time. I mean, he should be in prison just for lying about where the virus came from.
Oh yeah, it's coming out.
And then
Funny how the FBI suddenly just said we believe it came from a lab in Wuhan.
your ass, right? And then you find out that he's making millions, funneling money to these labs, and then he's got he's worth $20 million. He's throwing out the baseball at the Washington game
Without the mask on.
Without a mask on.
Yeah.
And then I did a whole podcast on him when they were. He was talking about how the shot. You got to get the shot because if you get the shot, you can't transmit the stuff. And then a week later, he's talking about how if you get the shot, you still can transmit it. And
Yeah,
you can
he's
still
all
catch it. And then he says,
It was all over the place.
I've had 9 shots and I've still got COVID 6 times. I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
And then he did an interview years prior talking about the flu, and he's like, "If you get the flu, that is the
Cheese kettle corn.
that's the greatest immunity you could have is getting sick. You don't need the flu vaccine if you have the flu.
I just hate the hypocrites.
Oh yeah, well that's all.
That's
it is.
all they
I
are.
just hate the fact.
All it is.
I am so sick of listening. I'm a political junkie. A lot of people on podcasts are political junkies, right? And
I don't know what you're talking about.
I like to listen to their
Makes the world go round.
right. I like to listen to their bullshit. It gives me all the content for Truth, Lies, and Political Bullshit, the #1 podcast in the Capital Region. Just in case you didn't know.
Sponsored by Juice Kettle Corn.
Yeah. Way to plug yourself there.
you. Did I
I think
do
they
that?
have a
That was
song.
right.
I think they have a song like "You're So Vain." I think it is.
Yo,
Oh.
you gotta get customers, man. How do you grow without the customers? But
Truth, Lies, and Political Bullshit. Wednesday nights.
Wednesday nights,
See, there you go. I helped you out.
YouTube, Facebook.
YouTube,
Rumble.
Facebook, Rumble, Apple,
In his own head.
in my own head. I forgot what I was saying because I was so consumed with myself. Not that I do that.
No, I never noticed. I never noticed, Sean.
But the hypocrites are everywhere now.
Yeah.
You turn on Facebook and it's rail after rail. I've never even heard of half of these people. And it's all the same thing. Elon Musk, the new president. And
The problem is they have nothing, so they've picked their enemy.
But nobody's talking
talk
about that
Fauci,
45
God.
billion.
No.
I mean, who's the worst in the world? He's
Yeah.
the devil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, well, that's the problem. Is that's the Democrats. All they have right now is identity politics, and so they're going. We hate the billionaires. We hate the billionaires.
that's
We
the
hate
other.
the billionaires, and that's all they
They
got.
used to be millionaires until
Yeah, now
they
it's-
became
Yeah.
billionaires.
So the problem is that they have nothing, so they're gonna turn to hating people, and the beauty of it is, I think, as a society, we've moved on from that, and we don't believe it anymore.
I think as a society, it's great to know that more people are smart enough
Yep.
not to follow
They
Chuck
can't get.
Schumer and the rest of these cunts.
They see them for what they are now.
Well, they can't
Trump,
get away.
Trump got them out, exposed them.
Yeah, they can't get away with what they used to, because there's so many people. Geez, kettle corn. There's so many.
They must be paying a lot for this freaking plug here.
There's so many people on top of what happens by the minute. So as soon as something happens, there is an army of anons out there that are doing the research and exposing the truth. They literally, the media can't keep up because we are the media now.
Yep.
Um,
I think it's great how we are in the White House press box.
Yeah.
yeah.
Podcasters.
Open it
and
up.
the and the
And you know
legacy
what?
media's
You can
pissed.
actually apply.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't know if I could get in if they looked up my
You only
record.
need like
Phonies.
100.
Actually,
grand, like
Trump
a
might
day.
like you a lot. Actually.
I'm going to ask for a pardon because I got the same screwing he got. Everybody knows that. But here's what I really think that's sad. That there's still enough people that if Chuck Schumer, we're going to fight, if Chuck Schumer
Yeah, in the streets.
told them to drink the Jim Jones Kool-Aid, they would still drink it.
30% of people right now.
I watch the shit on Facebook, and I promise myself that I won't engage in 65 fights an hour.
Oh, it's so tough.
So I'm down to 35. Okay? But the people are just morons at the highest level. I mean, hatred. I never looked at hatred in my life before until Trump became the president. Because that was the
Well,
first.
there was hatred for Bush
No,
too.
I
though.
I never looked at hatred in any way because I never really hated anybody. I either liked you or I didn't like you, but I didn't hate you. I didn't want you to get hit by a
Yeah, hate's a strong.
right. I mean, I didn't want you to get hit by a bus, right? I just would stay away from you. I don't like you, I stay away from you. But because of Trump, I truly see what hatred is, and it is ugly. It is as ugly as anything in this world. These people hate him so bad that no matter what he does, he could part the sea,
Oh, yeah.
he could cure cancer, he could do anything that that the world would want, and they would somehow hate him for it.
Well, perfect point, Sean, is look, in the last 10 days, we've gotten 10 hostages out
Yeah.
from 5 different countries. Nobody's saying a blessed thing about it. If it wasn't for Fox News broadcast, I wouldn't have known. It's crazy.
The Venezuela thing. Yeah.
That was a huge one.
Yeah, what's his name went down there to talk about something completely unrelated, and he left there with like 6
Yeah.
hostages.
If you look
Yeah.
at what the guy did,
And the reason why he didn't get, the reason why he didn't get the other 2 is that they had been messed around with so much, they thought it was a fake release, so they fought not to go, and they said they'll get him the next time and explain to him that they actually, so, what's that?
Stockholm, yeah.
Yeah. So it's not being reported. It's crazy.
It's not crazy. It's what we've come to expect in this country. The media is the second devil. Fauci is the first. The media is the second. And that's why podcasts
I think
and
Maxine Waters looks like a devil.
she's the devil too. But they're all one big
devil.
big
And
group.
you know, Trump is no dummy. Like the things he does is very calculated. It's that 5D chess. Like there's a reason why
He is
when
smart.
COVID happened, he shoved Fauci to the front lines. You would have never known Fauci's name if it wasn't for Trump shoving him to the front.
You're absolutely right. But Trump is also
anything he does, and whether he's an asshole or not, you know what I mean. Like it's the point. Like you get the point. It's the art of the
yeah.
deal.
There's moments though I think that he just
For anybody wondering who's that in the background, it's God. God's in our room, and he
Bearded wonder.
He interjects occasionally.
God, I appreciate you liking Truth, Lies, and Political Bullshit every Wednesday. I'm glad you watch it. Wow. Appreciate
Another
that.
goddamn plug.
No, that was God.
Have some cheese kettle corn.
No, but listen, the truth is that Trump sometimes does say stupid shit. And you could look at him and say, what an asshole. It's easy to say that about him.
Unfortunately, he does say some
Yeah,
funky shit.
no, it's easy to think the guy's an asshole. There's times I say, if I was out, I'd punch him right in the puss. I can't stand the guy.
I'll tell you.
Then I look
Tell
at
me,
him-
tell me you didn't have exactly that thought when here he is doing executive orders, pretty serious stuff, and then he pulls out the executive. As much as I agree with it, the executive order for plastic straws. I'm like, really? As much as I agree with that, but really, is now the time to worry about
then
the
in the
plastic straws? And even the commerce guy behind him was kind of chuckling. It's like, what?
Yeah, it's random. And
Yeah,
then,
so random.
conveniently the other night, Android and Google update, and we have the
Gulf of America.
Yeah.
Everyone laughed at that, but look
Fair.
Yeah.
who capitulated.
And it should be. It is part of America, right? I mean, look at. He's not a stupid son of a bitch.
But
I mean,
how
And
how
there's-
random was that? I remember when he announced, I'm like, what?
I thought
What did
about
he
it, too.
just say?
I'm
that makes
scratching my-
no sense.
But it
Where
does,
is that
right?
even from?
He didn't
he's
call
no
it the
dummy.
Gulf of the United States,
No, he called the Gulf of America.
Yeah, and he's no dummy.
right?
He's no
Well,
dummy.
it's not. That's
In
because of
American
Biden.
water?
Well, yeah.
That's
so-
because of Biden. He
Yeah.
did that because Biden signed an executive order. You can't drill in the Gulf of Mexico.
what I'm saying.
Okay,
Like,
no problem. We'll just rename it.
you can drill in the Gulf of America.
The guy is super smart.
Yeah.
He surrounds himself with smart people.
Well, he learned from his
He
mistake the
made
first
millions
time.
of dollars. He ain't dumb. He got rid of the swamp. Look, when I first got in politics, I surrounded myself with all the people that were there before me that I thought were your like allies, and you realize they're just backstabbing pieces of shit that you should have got rid of.
They were politicians.
Right, and they're bureaucrats.
That's how they survive.
They're
Bureaucrats.
bureaucrats, right? They'll eat their young. They'll do anything they can to stay in business, right? Because you get hired politically, you die politically. It's that simple. I remember when I became the mayor and I sent a letter out to everybody saying, sign this letter of resignation, and then I'll have an interview with you to see if I want to keep you. I get the Times useless piece of shit newspaper call me up and say, we heard you're trying to fire everybody. I said, yeah, maybe. Isn't that what you do when you get in the office? You decide what you
Change
want
your
to do.
team.
I go, hey, you get hired politically, you get fired politically. Don't call me again, asshole. And of course, that's why I was on the front page of the paper.
So they didn't like you after that.
No, well, they never liked me because I was always sticking up for my good friend Dan McCoy. But the Times Union is useless, right?
All the rags are useless.
Yeah, and the guy, I won't even say his name because he's probably the only guy left in the world that if I had a chance to punch in a puss, other than Cuomo, I would do that. But the Times useless is just
He's going to be the next mayor of New York City.
never.
Which is a
He's not going to win. I'll bet you right now some kennel corn.
Which is a
I'll bet you a bag of kettle corn.
He's not going to win.
Times Union is a Hearst family.
Of course. So they're all
Paper
pieces of
company.
shit.
So what do you think? Is Cuomo going to be the next mayor of New York City? I think he's going to win it.
No way.
I think
I will be down
Donald
there.
Trump Jr.'s got a better shot than him.
I will be down there marching.
Barron.
I will march. I will do whatever I can to make sure that Cuomo doesn't win. He's a
I don't
piece
know.
of shit.
As much as I agree
He
with
should
you,
be imprisoned for murder.
I think
What he did to those
For the
old people.
COVID, yeah. Oh,
Right?
they came out with that.
The Congress did, right?
Yeah.
But nobody's going to do nothing because that's the
they circle the wagon.
what they do. They throw off some fire shots. They call you some dirty names. They put you out there, and then they go away. That's
Well, maybe they'll think that the people forgot or had enough of Hochul that they'll forget that Hochul
Listen.
was his second in command.
first of all, what happened to women? We believe women. We believe women. When the Me Too movement took place, it didn't matter if a man did anything or not. All somebody had to do was say he did it.
Oh, yeah.
And his life was destroyed.
Well, it's amazing how the hypocrisy yet again.
Right, and now you got Cuomo, Mr. Fondler there, who likes to put out the memos that you can't, you have to have sexual harassment training. While he's got, he's bringing in dog chains and he's got all of his little sex toys and he's harassing these women. But now, what happened? Nobody remembers him no more. They all think that it's just going away.
You know, I have to say, I have to. All kidding aside, I have to say something. You're not gonna like it. You're probably gonna hate me for it. But you know what? I don't care. So
I hate you.
There you go.
No.
So I have to say, when they did during the height of COVID, because I still went to my lunch place and there was always a TV on, and I sat there, ordered my lunch, and I by myself in the restaurant eating, and there was the Chris and Andrew show. He would do his daily.
You thought that was funny when they brought out that big.
You know what? In the mood that the country was in, I thought the brevity that those two brought was refreshing because it allowed me not to think of the dire and gloom.
And what a 180 he's done.
Oh yes, I actually really like listening to Chris Cuomo a lot.
He's like a person now.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't stand him.
have you listened to his podcast?
Yeah, he's still on steroids, I think.
Doesn't matter. But he has done a 180.
Yeah, he's done a 180 because they threw him off the TV, and now he's on just a little small show. He's got nothing compared to what he had before, and nobody gives a shit what the
I don't
Cuomo
know.
And he's taking ivermectin.
And he's taking ivermectin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to say I did a 180 myself on Chris Cuomo, and I don't follow Andrew Cuomo, but I enjoyed their little banter back
See, I
and forth.
found nothing funny about it because, see, here's what I didn't find funny. He's killing people, and then he's on TV making jokes about it. Yeah. And I find nothing funny about a man who is such a brass piece of shit that would actually let people die so that he can.
Well, so they can bump up the numbers.
Well, he would let him die so he can have his little freaking daily report. So
why do you think they had those numbers on the screen?
Yeah, bet your ass.
They had to keep it the fear.
Yeah,
You can.
Without
People
fear,
can
that's
only.
right.
Well, that's what the mask was a constant reminder.
Well, that number on the
That's why they
screen.
pushed that.
The whole thing was, listen, here's how they wanted the world to operate. You don't want to wear a mask, so
You're killing him.
They're telling everybody you're killing the neighbor and his kids, and now your neighbors are screaming at you, and you're telling your neighbor.
Look at the TV with the tracker.
That's right. So all they did is they wanted the world to be against each other, so they could look like the great saviors.
You remember how there was a push to take kids away from parents that
Yes.
were anti-vaxxers?
There's still a push. In California, if you don't let your kid have a sex change at 5, they come in and take your freaking kid away.
They changed the law that
I would tell you, I'd
they
be
don't
dead.
have to tell you.
I'd be dead.
Oh, they don't have to tell you in schools today. at all.
Nobody's coming to take my kid because he wants to play with a doll at 5. Okay? They want to.
So funny story. Speaking of this, I love the way. By the way, I love the way we meander. I think it's awesome. So what's that?
God's here.
Yeah. Well, he might not like this one actually. So
I sanction this.
my nephew, who's flamboyantly queer, which I don't care. Whatever.
Right, who cares?
Proper hair.
He said to me, he goes, "What would you ever do, Uncle Jay, if Ben or Cam told you they were gay?" I said, "Well, how old are they, first of all?" "Well, they came to you when they were 10. I said, "You're not gay, you're just confused." "Well, you really?" "Yeah, they're young boys that have hormones raging. They're influenced by schools, and they don't know what they want to do. So my job as a parent is to keep on the straight and narrow." "Okay, well then what would happen if at 18 and 19 and 20 they came to you and said they were gay?" I said, "Well, at that point, I think they can make a rational decision. They've figured it out." I would tell my son, "I'm absolutely devastated. I'm disappointed. I love you no matter what. You're my son and I'll always support you. But it is what it is." He goes, "Really?" I'm really surprised. I'm like, "Why would you be surprised?" He goes, "Well, I know how you feel, and you're a Republican and you're conservative, and I figured you'd hate him." I'm like, "Absolutely not.
your
I
kid."
love him just like anybody else. It doesn't mean that I approve, but doesn't mean I love you any less."
It's not what I would want for you.
And it's amazing the mentality that are being pushed the way we think, the way they think we think
That's
about that.
the whole point of indoctrination. These kids in school at young ages. See, instead of teaching them how to prepare for like the world, we try to put them into a position where they think the world's against them. so that small little group of people they can rely on
Everybody's
is the
oppressed.
people that they go to, right? And everybody else, mom and dad, they're bad people. Don't listen to your mom and dad. Listen, I don't care what people do. I don't care who they sleep with, what they do once they're adults. I do have a problem with flaunting your ass down the middle of a parade because you're gay. I don't understand.
And bringing your kid to
Right, I don't understand the whole thing. Do heterosexuals put on their underwear backwards and march down the parade and say, "Hey, look at blah blah," and throw up flowers? And no, maybe I mean I don't know.
They're usually puking on the side of the
Depends
bridge.
what kind of parade I'm
But you
at,
see what
but-
I'm saying?
Well, if you want to blow your mind,
Oh, God speaking.
log into ChatGPT and ask, what would the devil have you do if you wanted to destroy the nuclear family?
I was going to talk about the nuclear family. Yeah.
Well, the system's anti-nuclear family.
Yeah,
Well, that's the source of this country. You know, like when you destroy the nuclear family,
Well, the
everything
nuclear
else
family's.
it comes down from.
You and
that.
I both know that the nuclear family's been destroyed a long time. Divorce now supersedes marriage. Single mothers, single fathers, and more grandparents taking care of their kids. You see all these old people trying to take care of their kids that are out and getting in trouble, and they're like, "Oh, well, you don't take care." I'm 90 years old. I'm doing the best I can.
Yeah.
Drugs, alcohol, all this shit has plagued the
Yeah,
world.
but that all has to do with in the beginning with bad parenting.
I don't know if it does.
think
Because
it
I'm
is.
going to tell you something.
But it does.
I had the
It is bad
greatest
parenting.
parents in the world, and I was a fucking maniac.
Really? You see,
Period.
there's a big difference,
Your
Sean,
parents never
between
abandoned
being.
you. Or,
Well, they didn't.
Yeah.
My mother lived. I had a single mom.
yeah.
I had my father lived in another place. They loved me, but the bottom line is it didn't matter what
Well,
they said to me.
okay,
There was a
I'm
point
gonna
where I'd
say
be
something
redundant.
else that's gonna be very controversial and probably gonna be hated, but all my friends know how I feel about this. But moms do not make good parents.
I disagree.
I'm sorry, moms have too much empathy to be a good parent.
No, my mother didn't have empathy. She whacked me in the head with a shoe if I.
Statistically, you
Yeah,
do
moms
have
do not make
a
good
single
parents.
father. You have like almost
Very-
the same upbringing as you would as a dual.
I don't.
Yeah, that is a fact. It's a
statistic.
fact.
It's
Whose
statistic.
fact is that?
It's been
where's that?
proven.
Statistic. Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
I got statistics that I could tell you that are.
Well, I'm not. Nobody's
No.
Hey,
talking
listen.
about your statistics.
No, and I'm not
learned-
speaking anecdotally
I
here.
learned
We're
two
saying,
things about statistics. There's those you look up and there's those you make up, and they're both.
well,
full of
this
shit.
isn't a made up. Made up.
I
This
can't
is
back
a-
that up.
There's no way you can back that up. You
Yeah,
cannot even. There's
They,
not
they,
even a way
they
to
did a
quantify that.
study on kids that came from single mother homes and kids that came from single father homes, and the kids that came from single father homes were much better across the spectrum.
Not much better, but they would be the same as if you had a dual.
More of a
I-
traditional, yes,
I
because
find-
mothers. What's that?
It's that toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Well, I find it funny because it's mostly fathers that take off on their kids.
Well, it's usually
Well,
the
that's-
mother that
so
causes them to.
Yeah.
Well, look, and I
Well,
don't
no,
know.
no, I'm not. No, we're taking the reasons away.
Yeah.
We're saying if you have a father
we're not
that's got to
doing a
raise
case
the
by
kids,
case.
or the mother that's got to raise the kids, generally the mother tends to raise kids that are a lot more outlandish, liberal, more have less rules and boundaries, and tend to be more problematic than the ones that are the fathers, because the fathers tend to be a little
it's
harsher,
emotions and
it's
all
not.
the other things that factor.
So my point being is, it does take a nucleus family, because you need. I look at our house, in my house, when I brought my kids up. I was a really hard dad. I was hard on my kids. I'm still really hard on my kids. My wife tends to be the more loving, cuddler, empathetic. Oh, come on, you're being too hard on them. I'm like, no, life is going to be hard on them. You can't, So she offsets my harshness, and I offset her softness. And we have generally, my kids are rambunctious.
it's a yin and yang. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the problem is we're not willing to. Society has made whatever the man contributes bad, and emphasizes with the woman. And what happens? We have kids we have today. They're all over the place. There's no rules anymore. There's no boundaries.
And
There's-
along the way, you could go back to the 60s, like in the time that the civil rights movement has made their greatest advancements. The black community in the 60s went from an 18% single motherhood rate to today's, which is like almost 90%.
yeah.
And so the time that the black community, the civil rights has made their greatest advancements and achievements, they've literally gone backwards.
The whole country's going back.
Yeah.
First of all, we took God out of everything. There's the number one problem.
Well, yeah.
True.
Good
He left the room. Look, he left. He didn't like this conversation. He left the room.
We've taken God out of everything, and we try to make that like he's the devil and he's the problem. But look, don't
And
get me wrong.
they replaced the father with government.
Yes,
Well, the government,
absolutely.
The government is the parent in many houses, the provider in many houses. I'm with you. I believe that having a family.
We turned him.
No. I believe part
coming.
He's coming.
mom and dad together are the best way to raise
Yes.
kids. I am not sold by any stretch of the imagination that a single father is better raising kids than a single mother. I've been there. I lived it. I know it.
You had a strong woman.
No. I was.
No, he just said he was a rambunctious piece of shit.
My mother was a strong-ass woman, but she
Not
also
a
picked
piece.
the
I meant rambunctious, rabble-rouser is what I meant to say. I'm sorry. I got to pull out. I didn't mean to pull an Anderson Cooper there. Sorry.
Kids, as you grow up, you are what you are.
Yeah.
You could have the greatest parents in the world and be a murderer.
Oh, absolutely. Look at Jeffrey Dahmer.
That's right.
Yeah, two great parents,
You
and
could have the worst parents in the world and say, I don't want to live like that.
look at J.D. Vance.
That's right. And
Yeah.
so the reality is
But again, you're speaking plurality, not anecdotally here.
Yeah, we're talking about a whole, not a case by case.
well, you got to look at it case by case.
No.
How do you get to the whole?
Oh,
No,
it's finish
So how do
it.
they do it? They don't go case by case. They just grab 500 people.
No, they go case by case, and then they break it down and put all the holes. Say, okay, well, 70% of kids that turn out great in single-family homes are from men.
Yeah, I don't buy that.
That's how they did it.
It's on the Google.
I believe
And he knows everything.
I
That's
believe
right.
Google
AI knows
is
everything.
my last girlfriend. I don't believe it at all. Google doesn't. Hey, listen, the reality is it's hard to quantify all that stuff. It really is because there's so many variables in bringing up families and kids. First of all, they can say, well, poverty breeds crime and trouble. I don't buy that for shit. I was poor as poor. Okay?
Well, it's a different kind of crime.
Well, I don't know what it is. I was just
You got blue collar crime and you have
No, I was just as poor as anybody else when I was growing up. We weren't down there shooting and stabbing people. I don't believe being poor makes it happen. I believe that the societal breakdown has to do with a whole bunch of stuff that's hard to
Oh, there's no silver bullet.
Yeah, there's just so much. I believe that when you look at the 70s, there was a whole family. There was God. There was respect. The government was respectful. You got.
Are you saying it took a village? Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton.
Well, it does.
Hillary Clinton.
Because I'm going to tell you, what has
You know what?
changed?
Look at him. He looks like Hillary Clinton.
Listen, I don't like Hillary Clinton. But what has changed?
What was she like? Did you shake her hand?
I did. I talked to her many times.
Was it scaly?
Like a lizard.
Read these things. Sleep stacks.
But here's another fun stat. If you remove like the top 5 Democrat cities in the United States, we talk about gun violence and all this.
Crime's gone.
The United States doesn't even rank in the world.
No, I would believe that because, again, that goes back to the village thing, right? When the government
But
uses
that also goes back to a strong male.
I was petrified.
You know you're going to get your ass.
I don't care what he
So
says.
if you're going to have a father that, not everybody think every father's a tough guy.
No, that's not what we're
There's a
saying.
lot of bonus.
When you listen, Sean, when you speak in generalize and you generalize, that's how you get statistics is by generalizing certain metrics. I mean, come on.
You have to say.
You weren't elected by your neighbor, but the plurality of your community elected you. That's how it works. Not by case.
But of course, you have to look at 500 different families to get a sample.
Yes, so if 60% of those families that were single households that were raised by fathers that had straight and narrow kids, you're going to say the other 40% that were raised by moms that had rabble rousing kids, moms made worse parents.
The other 50 variables involved in it.
There isn't.
Stepping in here
Huh?
to get back on track.
No, God, this is what we do. We have to fight about it.
What I will say is, what I appreciate about this new administration is they're focusing on rebuilding the family,
Nuclear, yes.
the nuclear family,
Focus, yeah.
and breeding from within the nation rather than looking outside of it.
I think
And
that
to the identity thing. And as much as I would like to continue this, I would like to go back to your original point that started this about the women. Did you guys see that House vote that happened a couple weeks ago about like the girls in or the men in women's sports and how
Yeah.
2 Democrats voted against it?
Yes, it was almost a party line vote. I
No,
I
two
tweeted that.
Democrats voted for it.
Voted for it. No, voted voted for the
150
measure,
Yeah.
and all the rest of them voted against the measure.
They're scumbags.
Yeah, I posted
But
that.
like you were saying, 2, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, whenever the Me Too movement was happening, it was all about women's choice and believe women and
That's
blah
what I'm
blah
saying.
blah.
That's how we evolved. We evolved screwed up. We're a screwed up country. We're screwed
Well,
up.
it's all about what's in today's flavor, what
We are-
fits their narrative.
Look at if you ask yourself, if you could go back 15 years, do you ever think you'd be talking about having to pass legislation to determine if you have balls or you don't have balls, you're a man or you're not man? I mean, 15 years ago, just go back that little bit of time in your life. You'd never be thinking about 15 years from now, we're going to have to pass legislation as to whether guys can go beat up girls in sports.
Or
Do
a
you
man
ever-
beating up a chick in the U.S. or the
Yes.
World Olympics.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you ever watch?
Like, she's a girl, and then it's like, oh, I guess she was like disqualified like a couple years ago for being a man.
Do you ever watch like Charlie Kirk or Ben Shapiro,
Yes.
like these college campuses?
CIA.
And he'll come out and
still
say,
watch
and he'll
hockey.
come out and say, "What's a woman?" Well, they can't describe what a woman is. They're not willing to say, well, it could be. It all depends how you feel. It's a
Because collectively,
It's
that's their
crazy.
message, right? You can't move a message with one person, right? You have to move a message with the whole party, right?
And they just
They move message.
oh, they're a bunch of lemmings.
Yeah.
Lemmings.
Well, I don't know what they have no value.
right off the cliff.
Yeah.
You have to stand for something.
But one of my favorite like YouTube reels, clips, whatever, is the dude going around the street asking people. It's actually mostly women. If they think a child should get a tattoo, and
Yeah.
they're like, and all of them are like, oh no, it's too young. And then the same breath, or right after, he's like, do you think they could choose their gender? And they're like, I see what you did there.
Yeah.
But it's the truth, and they say yes.
Yeah.
I can't figure out people no more.
No.
There's actually moments in my life.
We are
You're gonna
truly
bust
in a
my
mental
balls.
health
He's
crisis.
gonna laugh at me, bust my balls. There's moments in my life that I say to myself, I could sell everything I own, except my cooler and my chair, and go sit on the ocean and just be left the fuck alone
What else
for
do
the
you
rest
need?
of my life.
I think of doing that every day.
because I just don't.
probably grab the
I don't
umbrella.
care.
Maybe the umbrella.
I don't know how you fix the problems of the world. I don't know if they're fixed. I'm a very strong God-fearing man, right? So I do believe all this shit happens for a reason, and then the end of the world comes.
Most of them are created on that black
Some-
box on your TV.
Right, some people believe it, some people don't. But I'm just looking at a time in life where the government has intervened so deep into people's lives to destroy them.
No,
so
they
they
want.
can
No,
control
they,
them.
yeah. I was gonna say they want to create people that are dependent.
Well,
They don't want you. They
control
don't want
them.
free thinking.
Everything's
people.
about power.
Yeah.
And,
Everything.
and keeping you divided, because if you're distracted,
That's dividing,
if you're distracted
yes.
and worried about all this bullshit, you're not worried about the $45 billion that Elon Musk
That's right.
found. You know what I mean?
But ask yourself,
Because
this.
we should be, people don't like talking about politics. Why do you like politics? Da, 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 da. Politics literally drives your world.
Yeah. Every decision.
Every aspect of your life, whether you like it or not, is driven by politics. And it's the Roman adage of bread and circus. That's why Rome had the Colosseum. It was to keep the people distracted from the downfall of Rome.
yeah.
Well, we have a downfall coming.
No, we are on the rise, baby.
No.
We've been saved.
Look at you. You can only.
Been saved.
You can only.
God is in the room.
You're only going to be saved for 4 years, brother.
No.
And then all those executive orders don't mean shit.
Oh, that's the problem.
The bottom line
he needs to figure out in
The
the
shit that's
midterm.
going to come out here is going to. There
look at-
won't be a Democrat Party when this
Yes,
is
there
done.
will, because there always are going to be people who like.
There's always
God
rats and
and people that
cockroaches.
like
Yeah,
the
but they'll
devil.
be like, Green Party.
You want to, you want to think that way. So don't I. But that's not the reality. Because the truth is, if you look at the elections, Trump wins the popular vote by a couple million votes, right?
Yeah.
I thought
So-
they all
so-
wanted the popular vote.
So
Get
the
rid of
popular vote of a couple million votes is not enough
Electoral.
to say, oh my God, I just took the whole thing by a landslide. That means that almost still half the country are so fucked up that they can't determine a man from a woman. They can't determine whether a judge just passed, or a judge today just stopped the Trump.
Firing the freaking.
Despite his
No,
win,
they-
I still think there was massive fraud. Like,
Oh,
the
I
only
think there was
state-
fraud too.
The only states she won are the only states in the country that don't require voter ID. I would say the real numbers are probably like 18 to 20 million that she got.
I believe that the world is divided. It's always going to be divided. It's been set up to be divided, and only the smart people will come out on top. And I do believe that people like myself, who's been a Democrat my whole life, was smart enough to say, what I'm seeing
It's not it.
is just not in line with my values, even though for the most part of my life, the Democratic Party was lined up with my values.
Because when you became a Democrat or thought
They destroyed me.
but when you thought you were one, it's a different animal than it is today.
Well,
it's unrecognizable.
That's right. It is unrecognizable.
Well, like a lot of people say, I didn't leave the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party left me. You know, but I also think that this election, I really believe, was an awakening. I think a lot of people who were the blue dog Democrats have said, just like you know what? The party's moved. Their values, their views, they just don't align with me anymore. Yes, they believe in certain welfare programs. Yes, they believe in a social safety net, but not transgenders and not girls in locker rooms and not, you know. So what's going to happen is how I see it. Trump right now is setting up the floor plan for 2 years.
That's all he's got.
Well, because 2 years. So he wants to do as much as he can and build a momentum to go into the midterms and say, this is what the Republican Party's done. Now, here's what the Democrats voted for. They voted against a bill to protect the women. They voted against a bill to keep boys out of girls' locker room. And then he's going to go through so the Republicans have bigger majorities in the House, and I think that's how he's going to destroy the Democratic Party.
That's what he's
but the Democratic Party, believe it, they're not going to leave quietly, and they're going to reshape themselves.
Well, it is
and they're
a corporation. So is the Republican Party. They are corporations.
They are.
Yeah, but they're still run by. You're still electing people, not
There's
a
still
corporation.
subliminal messages coming out every day that brainwash people. I mean, you could turn the TV on every day, and there's a bunch of transgenders up screaming about, how their lives are in danger. There's nothing in danger. We didn't just pass a thing that says every transgender.
Oh, the town in Massachusetts.
we didn't
Worcester. Nobody's gonna come and fucking take you away because you're a transgender. Nobody gives a shit about you.
Nobody gives a shit.
Oh
They
my
just
God! Did
care
you
about-
see how those people look?
Don't shave. We'll never
But listen, that's how they keep people on their side. There's people who are just.
It's
I mean,
the
I
big-
know.
yeah, it's that
I know
victim
people that are
mentality.
just. Yes, I know people that are the most lovely people in the world. God-fearing old woman, but she'd be like, well, the Trump's mean to those,
That's because those.
and that's because they're brainwashing.
But you know what I think though.
it's
But
a
here's
doctrine.
here's the difference though. I think that we've come to a point where now, I can say to that person, "Shut up."
You
And
can now.
everybody's like, yes, finally somebody told that person to shut up.
Presidents that were transformable in their time, right? Ronald
He's
Reagan. But after
Trump is
Reagan-
transformable.
After Reagan left, what happened?
Well, the problem is the system is rigged to put the next person in line, not the best person, the next person. And Bush was a bad
Well,
president.
Bush was in charge of the CIA when Kennedy got shot.
He was a bad president.
Here's what I can tell you, and it's no different on from the local level to the national level.
Cheese kettle corn.
Here's the. That's funny. Truth, lies, political bullshit. Wednesday night.
There it is.
That's a subliminal message. Right? But
Speaking of,
Like, subscribe.
I forgot what I was
Share.
going to say. For Christ's sake, and that don't happen to me too much.
see that? I put you on your heels.
You did. You put me back. I got to come out swinging.
Deep dives with Adam and Matt coming soon.
That's right. That's right. Oh, you just announced it.
That a new podcast?
It will be.
Awesome.
Deep dive.
Can't do Thursdays, can't do Wednesdays. So when's your show?
Anytime after 8.
Okay. I think, right now the country has a chance to get on its feet. I think what everybody needs to do is when they are on their feet, hit their knees and thank God for everything that's happening. We got we got to keep God in the picture. Right?
Speaking of that, talk about unanswered prayers. We all thought the world was coming in because Joe Biden was elected. I don't think Trump would have had a successful presidency a month into his presidency had he won re-election.
No, I believe.
Talk about thank God for
I
unanswered prayers.
believe things happen.
What do you mean? If he didn't get elected?
Well, if he was if he won in 2020,
He was.
Well, yeah, you needed. Well, there.
You needed that break.
Down the rabbit hole, you know.
you did need the break, right?
You
Because
needed this.
he's coming off of their trying to impeach him every other Friday.
Although they already started that
So
deal.
so he disappears,
You already started that.
right?
Yeah, they were doing
And
that
then-
right up until the election.
And who's that? Who's that quiff? That's the. Who is he?
love
That's
that
out there
word,
saying
quiff.
He's gonna. He wants to. Start,
That's a word. That's a name from the last podcast. Quiff.
Who is the quiff that the black congressman who says I'm starting the impeachment?
Yeah, he already started again.
I can't remember his name. But
yeah.
he's about as crazy as they come. Did you ever? If you
That's the
wind,
same one that said Guam's going to tip over.
yeah, it's a whack. But how do they get elected? I'm going to tell you.
How does AOC get elected?
You got to
got a nice
remove
ass.
the machines. None of these
Outside
people
of
would
that-
have been
Yeah, but
elected.
now, so she lives in her district. She pushed out Amazon. Amazon wanted to put a big distribution center with a lot of jobs, everything else, and because of her, she single-handedly pushed out, and she got reelected.
Listen, first of all, they
Nuts.
gerrymander all the lines.
I think she's.
Look,
think
she'll
she's
never
a
lose.
plant.
She's not going to lose. You know why she's not going to
Plan
lose?
how so?
I think she's a plant. I think it might. Yeah,
AOC.
it might. AOC, I think is
Oh,
a plant.
I think the only reason why she got elected is exactly like
I think
Justin Trudeau in
she's-
Canada.
I
She's a
think
good-looking girl, and the guys
Yeah,
like,
she's
I
pretty.
But
like
she's
that.
pushing the Democrat Party so far left, the darling of the DNC, AOC. She's pushing it so far left and pushing, such a radical point of view.
And she's so dumb.
And if you actually if you actually do the research on her and her college theses and stuff, she wrote some very conservative papers. She wrote some very anti-feminist
Yeah.
papers.
No, she was at one time a conservative bartender.
And she came from a very wealthy family. And
She's a conservative bartender, and once you get in, you get a little power, and now you would. She's got.
What he's
who's the
saying is
Somalian
she's a
woman?
plant.
I don't believe that.
it's an awakening. You have to.
No, it's just a woman who
If
got
I
elected
just
and
told
got
you,
power.
but
And
if
it's
I
now
just-
worth millions of dollars, funny enough.
But if I just told you this 5-10 years ago, you'd never believe it. But it took you to crawl
No,
through
I'm just
that
saying I don't
swamp.
believe she. I've been involved in
Yeah.
politics. I see how it's done. They just gerrymander the lines. She's winning a
It's the
congressional seat.
Bronx. Nobody's going to win in the Bronx.
She's
if
winning
they're
a
Democrat.
congressional seat.
Maybe share some of that beer to quench your throat there.
I had the flu. I was in bed for a whole week.
Great.
Oh,
No,
great. Have some juice cattle cord.
No, I don't eat that shit.
Whoa, 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 whoa!
I'm just saying. I bought.
I don't
some,
watch Two
like,
Lives of Flick Bush either.
My grandkids have to go back. It's the best kind of corn you could ever get, though. But I don't believe it because you're right. In the Bronx and all them places, you're winning on 4 blocks of people.
I know it's such a.
So if you're Jenny from the block,
There's 200,000 people.
yeah. So you just it isn't like when you run up here, you got to go to 5 different
Jenny
counties.
from the block.
Yeah.
Well, look
Sounds
at-
like a girl that works at a corner.
And the way the state works, I mean, when Cuomo won in 2018 or whatever, he won 4 out of 64.
Well, he won New York
62
City and he
counties?
lost everything else.
Well, he probably won Utica
York's-
and Rochester and Buffalo.
It's
Yeah,
New York City,
yeah.
Albany, Rochester,
Yeah.
Buffalo. But if you look, if you handed the electoral map of New York State
all
every
red.
election to a toddler and be like, who won, red or blue?
And then they
You
just
know what I mean?
gerrymandered the
I still don't think that
That's why we need an
Zeldin
electoral
lost
here.
the election.
Every
I
state should
think
have an
it-
election.
Unless he's sitting in the seat, he lost the election. How,
I don't.
how he
Virginia-
lost is
I
another
think.
story.
I think it was
Virginia's another one too, But
Look,
it's because all the
the government
politicians-
workers. Yeah.
The greatest scheme in the world was politics and drawing the lines of how you get elected.
Yeah. Look what happened. Look what happened to Tedesco.
Listen,
Which is
gonna
exactly
tell you-
why the founding fathers created the Electoral College.
I'm going to tell you a funny story, really quick.
Fundamental.
I was the chairman of the Albany County redistricting process for the last, not the last one, but the redistricting before that, okay? So I said, how the hell am I going to be the first one to redistrict without getting sued? Because every time they redistrict, the black community sues, saying that the lines are being drawn to disenfranchise the black people of Albany County. So I went back and read and listened and watched every single thing that was argued in the court by the people that represented the black community as to why they got screwed over. And the judge ruled in their favor. So one of the things was that they should count blacks and Hispanics as one voting block because they have so much in common, right? And so moving forward,
Instead of one voice, one
right.
vote.
So moving forward, I took all of the stuff that they argued last time when they sued, and I followed it to a T. And you know what they did? They sued me. And I lost. And they said I disenfranchised black people because I, A, counted Hispanics and blacks together, which was their argument that you were supposed to do that the last time. Yeah. I made every district at least 61% black voting age, meaning that it wasn't 50-51 where they didn't have a chance.
60-40.
60-40, so they would win. They said that I gerrymandered that, and when they were all said and done, the judge ruled in their favor, and he took away the 60-40 and said, well, they win, and all they need is 50 plus 1. So I was in the Times Useless, and I said, here's what's going to happen. This process is so flawed that the black people are going to now lose their election because not enough will turn out to vote. And the white guy is going to win because you guys just fought this process just to fight it, to continue to make it sound like everybody was trying to screw each other over. And the first election, the lady who was black lost her seat to the white guy. And they called me up. They go, what do you got to say? I go,
Can't have
I
that.
told you so. Yeah. That's the dirty side of politics.
Well, look what, the great Governor Hochul has just done, or she's
Lost.
She's
Tried to do.
She's capitulated since, but they tried coming out with the thing about Stefanik and delaying her special election, which hopefully Liz Joy for Congress
I
will
think
take
Liz
that one.
is a great choice, and hopefully she will win. Hey, so now it's 10:30, and it's past my bedtime. I can't eat kettle corn. I don't drink beer. I got to go home and take my shot because I'm a diabetic.
Well, that kettle corn will handle that.
No, I take a little bit of Jack Daniels before I go to bed. Just got to take my shot.
Your shot. Well, I guess Sean's gonna. Oh, we have a hello here.
Oh.
I guess Sean's gonna book. You want to stay a little longer?
I
Or
just
what do you
said I
want
was
to do?
going home to take my shot.
Well, I have something here you can take.
Okay, then I'll stay another. God said stay.
Oh, I gotta see if I still have
You
it.
got to listen to the bearded man,
I'm good. I'm good. I'm just playing.
the great beard in the sky.
I think we should have him come in here. Why don't we get a chair in here?
You got room?
Look,
He
he's shaking
doesn't
his
want to
head
be
now.
seen.
doesn't wanna
He
be
wants to
seen.
be.
I do not speak.
Wow.
I speak and do not be heard or seen. Whatever.
So did you see the local judge just shot down the Trump's transgender, where you can't do the transgender on kids under 19?
He shot that down.
Today, one of the judges put a pause on that too. So the country is now really run by these
Unelected judges.
Unelected judges. Yeah.
low-level judges that will determine whether the president of the United States of America.
Well, Pam Bondi will be all over that.
Well, it is, but
God, she is amazing.
She's a savage. She's suing Kathy Hochul.
she should
And,
sue
yeah,
Kathy. I'd like to sign on to
and
that
Tish James.
Alvin Bragg, Tissa James.
No, it's her, and then once Cash happens, those two, watch out.
Which I'm surprised that
Those
they
two are
moved that
pitfalls.
forward. I was surprised. Out of all his nominees, I thought they were gonna poo-poo Kash Patel.
Well, he's
And
probably
and
the
yet
biggest one.
right now
Probably petrified of him.
they moved him past the Judiciary Committee. He's gonna go to the vote.
Here's the great thing: the Democrats have no say no more.
Well, the problem is we still have
we have-
Murkowski and freaking
Well, I was
Collins
gonna say,
and that goddamn douchebag Mitch McConnell.
Well, that guy. Why? There's an example of why you need term limits. There's no way in the world that a guy who can't even speak, freezes up in the middle of every conversation. How can he stay in office?
Yeah.
He's not competent.
Yeah, we had a president like that.
Yeah, I get it, but
There's more.
there's a term limit in the president.
Well, you have one of them
So could
that hasn't even been there to vote. She's been in hospice or something.
how is that? Why are we allowing this?
Because people don't give. Listen,
The problem
nobody
is
cares.
Americans know more about the freaking baseball team than they do. Hello, everybody. Than they do about They're elected
Because
officials.
the machines are choosing again, remember from our first podcast?
What is
Hey, what's up there, Jeremy? What's going on, Mister?
Elected,
Glad you could check in from sunny Florida. You
selected,
Sunny
not
Florida.
elected.
You bastard.
Little bitch. I'm going in a couple weeks, hopefully.
Where you going?
I go down to Tampa.
Oh, nice.
I usually go for 4 months.
Yeah.
Well, that's my goal, but I got some grandpa duties right
He's
now.
my buddy here is in the,
the biggest
Daytona area
race.
for the big race.
I love it. I love it. Good for you.
He probably went to Volusia. I'm sure he went to Volusia. And
Kyle Busch,
why am I not surprised? Why am I not
Kyle
surprised?
Larson,
Okay, there you go. I like Kyle Larson.
What are you talking about?
NASCAR.
NASCAR.
What is that?
It's you turn left.
Yeah.
You don't
Fast.
turn right? I go
Yes,
right.
I do.
You
Road
go
courses.
left.
My
He's
favorite.
turning left. He just said he turns left. We're going right.
Yeah.
You go left.
My favorite.
Eventually, you come back right.
My favorite track is Watkins Glen. I go there every year for the NASCAR race.
What's that? I don't watch race car. That's a hillbilly thing, ain't it?
You're from Cohoes. Like, you have a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Jesus
No, I
Christ.
used to like Petty. You know what?
Richard Petty.
I'm going to tell
king.
you.
Richard Petty loves kettle corn, by the way.
He loves that.
Loves
kettle
kettle corn.
And he
But if
watches
he had
my
Jeeps
show.
cattle corn,
Yeah.
I was in the firehouse
Speaking of G's kettle corn.
watching
God, you want some?
the race car when he got killed.
Oh, you got your bag there.
When Petty got killed, hit the wall.
Well,
Petty-
Petty
Not
did-
Petty, but
Earnhart.
Earnhardt.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
I was sitting in the firehouse
I cried.
watching. It was the last. I think it was the last lap or
yeah.
something.
Last quarter
turn,
lap.
Yeah.
Last turn.
Yeah.
And it was one of the first. He's the only one I like to watch. I really wasn't into the sport, but I wanted him
Rest
to
his
win.
soul.
Well, I wanted him to win because he's been the king of the track forever, but never won the Daytona, right?
He did win it,
But he did it the year before.
something like that.
That was his first time, so he was going for the double whammy, right? And then he hits the wall, breaks his
and
neck.
and he was always. I mean, in my circle, he was always the most hated, and
Yeah.
probably never.
Intimidator, man.
Yeah, the intimidator, and at my age now, and looking back, there's probably not many I respect more
Oh, the guy had balls.
than what he did.
You got first of all,
I remember watching him one time. His car flipped in the infield, parts flying off of it, and he gets out of the ambulance. He goes, "Does that thing start right up?"
No, he has that thing still got wheels in it.
Yeah, and he freaking fired up and finished the freaking race.
but you know, there's an example of a stubborn bastard, right? Because
Yeah.
he's dead because he wouldn't wear the headgear. What's that called? That thing that goes on your
No, it wasn't.
there's
It,
a lot of things, but
it
yeah.
wasn't mandatory then.
No, but
That
they
was still-
had it because it
It
saved
was
your
actually
life.
because of Petty's grandson, Adam. Of
Yeah,
why they have
a year later he died at
But-
But he
Yeah.
didn't have it on, right? Because I remember.
no,
you
it was
said he didn't.
it was just new coming out because
Yeah.
Formula One or Indy was wearing them and they were talking about it.
No,
but the reason why it's now in is because of Petty and Earnhardt.
Makes a
It
lot
was
of
both
sense, right?
things.
Your
They
head's
hit the
gonna
wall
snap forward.
and yeah.
Earnhardt also didn't wear a full face mask or helmet. He, the way he sat in the car, he had custom everything, and yeah, I
When he
mean,
hit the wall, I didn't think it was that big of a deal.
No.
You know what? You know what made me know it was bad is that I'm watching. What's his face? Not Wallace. Come on, who's the announcer at the time there?
Waltrip.
Waltrip. I was watching Waltrip, and he kept looking back, and oh my God,
Oh,
he kept
Dale's
looking
all
back,
right.
and it just something seemed off. He saw something in that wreck that an untrained eye didn't
Well,
see.
he 200
and it-
miles an hour straight on that wall, man.
and as soon as that happened, I'm like, something ain't right there. And then of course,
I was never a fan of it always was like too long for me, right? It took forever to get from the beginning to the end. I'd always go and watch like the last 50 laps.
yeah.
And I used
Well, the big one always
and,
happens.
and to this day, I still go watch like the last 40 or 50 laps.
So I'll tell you, probably about 10 years ago, my dad and I took a trip and went to the 500. I've gone to Watkins Glen, I've gone to Loudon, I've done all the small tracks, but I've never gone to a super speedway. And actually, have you ever been to a super speedway?
Never.
Have you ever been?
Yeah, we used
So-
to do the
so you-
Pepsi 400.
Okay, so you'd probably understand this. So
The night race that day.
when the race is going on, you can't get close to the track. There's probably a good 25 to 30 foot buffer where you can't even get close. Well, during practice, you can go up to the fence at the time. I don't know if you still can, but so they're practicing. So I walk up to the fence. Now they're coming out of turn 3, so it's coming out of turn 2. So they're way in the backstretch, and you hear them. They're coming, and you actually feel the air moving as they're coming.
Really?
So they're coming this way, and I can feel the air being pulled towards the cars. I'm like, well, that's weird. Again, I've never been there, so I don't know. They're coming into turn 3, and then the fence is starting to shake, and I can see the pebbles move on the wall. I'm like, what the frig? Now they're coming into turn 4. The whole fence is shaking. The ground is pounding. And these are cars. And all of a sudden, and then they're you couldn't tell
wild,
the
yeah.
car, the color of the car, where the car ended, car finished. You couldn't see. It was a blur.
Just a big strip.
And then once they go by, the noise suddenly just totally stops because they're past you. And then this wall of debris hits you. Wind, stones, rubber, the smell of burnt fuel. It's the most incredible thing. And the
nothing
speeds,
like it.
the speeds these cars go, and
it's
they are like paper spaces between them at 200 and some odd miles an hour. It's for miles they do this. It's incredible.
I'm 57 years old now, and I don't even like driving at night that much.
Yeah.
I know, right?
And then when I am driving, I go, geez, I got to get back a little. And I'm 10 feet behind the guy already, and I get back a little further. Then I watch these bastards. I go, there's got to be something in their brain that allows them to do that, because your body's telling you not to get that close.
And that's why when you get out of the sport and come back into it,
Kennel corn.
they don't do the same when they
No,
move
or when they have a big wreck or whatever.
or a big wreck.
Yeah.
And
Look at Steve Parks. Perfect example.
And he was awesome.
Yeah.
Get killed?
No, he lost
Big
an
wreck.
edge,
Oh, 'cause
and
it's
he
big.
hit an inside wall. His car, it was a berm, I think,
Just never do it again.
and it went up, and he was fucking messed up. I mean, he
never came
never
back.
came back. Never was right after that. Usually when a driver has a big wreck, it's out of it.
Well, it's kind of like a guy who's
rattles their
It's
cage.
kind of like a boxer who's 20-0 and then he gets knocked out. And sometimes they
Yeah.
can't come back from it.
But
It's scary.
And one thing I will touch base on the Earnhardt crash is earlier in that race, Tony Stewart, who was my favorite driver, and I've met him, and it was dirt
He runs
cars.
somebody else up here.
Well, he
kid over.
he probably took the nastiest wreck it's in the top 10 of NASCAR wrecks.
I don't know. Austin
Coming
Dillon's was pretty
He
bad.
came down the backstretch and he got turned side. I saw this car as close as you are. I got to touch it. I got to look at it, and this thing looked like a beer can. And he walked away with a separated shoulder.
Well, do you remember the one that was a nighttime
Lucky.
race? It was
And then
Austin
you saw
Dillon.
Earnhardt's crash, which looked like this.
Yeah.
Nothing.
But
Yeah.
Tony literally tumbled down the backstretch, flipped. However,
Yeah, his car went backwards, and
Oh,
The
he
thing that-
got crunched. That thing was beer
well,
can.
I look at Austin Dillon, who
Which is
actually
in
came
his-
up,
it's in his museum,
and he
too.
hit the catch fence, and the catch fence ripped the guy's whole car apart. The engine went flying, the wheels went into the crowd. The car, like you said, opened it like a beer can, and he got up and walked out of that thing without a scratch.
And today's cars are different.
Yes.
Especially
Safe.
the safety.
Oh yeah,
Like the
Earnhardt
seats.
bar, the Earnhardt bar. There was there's a bar, a steel bar right in the center of the windshield, and that's specifically called the Earnhardt bar because Earnhardt crashed the roof of his car when he flipped, so that added support to strengthen the cage. Was called the Earnhardt bar.
The seats are like they do a spray.
Oh, it's so safe. to get in
You're
there.
literally molded into the seat.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's no movement. That's how I got
killed.
killed. Look side to side. Like
It was that sudden stop. It was
Yeah.
that your head goes back and forth.
Well, the problem is, I think it was just a fluke because he was going this way, and when he hit the wall. But he still had forward momentum. So I think something was defective with his equipment.
He broke his neck,
Eyes
right?
the seats and stuff because he would sit like this.
He broke his neck.
Yeah. Something happened and he broke free and.
Yeah. But so getting back to that, how you said it's incredible the guys in there. So I did the Richard Petty experience.
Oh, I love the truck.
Where?
Daytona. No, it wasn't Daytona. It was actually at the Disney Motor Speedway at the time in Orlando. So you get in this car, and it's a NASCAR, detuned obviously. And of course, it was a goddamn Toyota, which I maybe not want to go, but whatever. So you get in this car, and you have to follow a pace car. And they slowly bring you up to speed to make sure you know you're doing a little class ahead of time. And you're in this thing, and you're like this. And you can barely move your hand, so you have to listen to the driver, to the guy spotting you. Okay, you can turn, you can turn, you can turn.
So you're not Earnhardt getting out and cleaning off your own windshield.
No. There's no getting in that. And it was a standard shift car, so you had to worry about spinning the wheels and everything else. Because they said if you spin the wheels, you're out. It will pull you. So of course you're worried about that, and you spent $300. You don't want to lose your. So anyways. We're going, and the cars are almost made to turn. So as soon as you get close to turn, the car wants to dive to the infield. So you have to actually fight it to keep it where you want it, to the reverse steer to keep it on the course you want it to go. So we're going faster and faster. Now I'm starting to get the hang of it. And this pace car is in front of me, and I'm like getting really close to it. He's got these little flashing lights. So if you're green, you're good. You're yellow, you're too close. You're too slow. Whatever. He's like yelling. And I'm like, come on. I'm ready to go faster. So finally, my headphone goes, we gotta bring you in the pit. I'm like, fuck, I fucked up. So I pull in the pit. And it was kind of cool because I had to stop, downshift and get in the pit.
Somebody in the car with you?
No, by myself. Well, the transponder wasn't working, so the guy in front of me didn't know it, so they would change the transponder. So he takes off, and I'm like looking at my wife, and I'm like, holy shit, I take off, I spin the wheel, I'm like, fuck. The guy goes, that was a pretty good takeoff, he goes. I'm like, oh, cool, so I'm catching up to him. We had the car up to 125 miles an hour. It was awesome. I had the fastest laps and the groups that we had.
125 fast.
Believe it or not, it felt a lot faster. I thought I was doing faster than 125 miles an hour. In the straightaways, I didn't feel like I was, but when you're hitting the corners and you're being pushed and you're fighting the car to stay in where you wanted to go. So you did like 10 laps. Getting back to where I wanted to get to is, I got out of the car and I was drenched from head to toe with perspiration. It was so fucking hot in that car. My arms were tired. I'm like, I can't imagine doing this for 500 miles.
A lot of those guys are peeing themselves.
Yeah,
It was, but still, and then the mental capacity to be bumper to bumper, fender to fender, I can't imagine.
I think the most amazing part is knowing that when you're watching the race, you don't realize that wall's like this.
Yes.
Oh, you have to maintain a speed.
Good luck walking up that.
Walk up the freaking thing.
Did you ever see the videos of them having to repave Daytona Motor Speedway? No. So they had a bulldozer, a big D9 on the top of the berm that had pulleys that was holding the other D9 so they could grade properly so it didn't slide down. So the tubes were going like this.
You have to maintain a speed just to stay on.
So I'm saying you'd
Yeah.
fall off it if you weren't going fast enough. You'd fall down.
It's crazy.
I've
So
done the tour at Daytona.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
I've done 100 in my Mustang convertible back when I had one, and that was a pretty sphinctering feeling, especially with the top down.
You know what's crazy? I did a hunt. We were going to Florida back in December
Fuck her
with
right
my
now.
wife's brand new Equinox. And I was doing 110 miles an hour.
So you guys broke
And-
the law, man. So what were you raised by fathers?
Absolutely, I had a dad that was
I was
crazy.
raised by a mother.
So-
who just went slow, to follow the rules.
I mean, I was going
Gas is
100.
on the right.
I was going 110 miles an hour. As a matter of fact, I took a picture of it, sent to my kid. I'm like, see, I beat your fastest speed, and I didn't realize I must be doing 110 for like 40 minutes. I didn't
Might have
realize
done
it.
heading to your city too.
God, they're like rebels. They were raised by
Oh,
fathers.
dude, if I could tell you the shit I did.
Duel.
Listen, I'm sure
There's
you
a
have
duel.
plenty of stories,
No
pal.
stories, man.
Yeah,
Everything you hear about me.
you
is
were
just
all a
made
saint,
up.
a total saint. I can see it now.
The back of your head is still red.
Well, that's not from what he did when he was a kid.
My mother was 4'11", so she hit you.
You
with
got to
a shoe.
watch out for the
So
short
it's a
ones.
She
lot.
hit you with a shoe.
It was a
They have the Napoleon syndrome, you know.
Listen, I knew when I was in trouble, because every house in the 1970s and 80s had the big wooden spoon and fork on the wall.
I remember those.
He's got one in the back room.
Every house had them hanging in the kitchen, and if I walked in and I looked up and the spoon was off the wall, I go,
Oh,
fuck, I'm in
shit.
trouble. So yeah, so I knew when I was in trouble.
That's better than the leather belt.
Well, the leather belt, my mother used to say, the shoe didn't hurt him, the belt didn't hurt him, but I hit him with that big spoon, and he'd go down.
I remember my aunt
He's got
Francine
one
had
in the
one.
back.
Well,
Might be for juice kettle.
Well, that's a paddle for the corn. That's a paddle for the corn. That's what I tell my kids.
But you remember those big wooden forks?
my aunt Francine
I know.
had it hanging in her kitchen.
My
Yeah.
generation, it's a
How are you just a young lad? How old are you?
36.
Oh my
I
God!
got underwear that old. For
I got
Christ's sake.
grays.
Yeah, I got
Not as
grays.
many as you guys, but
What
I
do you
got
mean, you
couple.
guys?
Oh, not you though.
Thank you.
Is that blonde?
That's blonde.
Is that sun bleach?
That's blonde.
It must
He
be from-
peroxides his
It
beard.
must be from Florida. It's that
It's all that Florida sun.
It's that Florida sun.
I can't wait to get there. I think it's these
What,
lights.
do you have a house down there?
I'm sweating my ass off. I feel like I'm under this.
It's because God's paying attention.
God.
Well, he turned the heat on this time.
No, you know I don't.
Oh
have
yeah,
a-
it was freezing last time.
I'm
Look
like-
it right here.
I don't own a house in Florida.
Oh shit, that's why.
So what do you say? A
It
condo?
rents.
Airbnb?
If you, unless you got to go live there full time, Why bother?
Airbnb?
No. I go to there's a site called Fully Furnished Finders,
Plenty
Oh
of
yeah,
fit?
yeah.
right? And you just go on and look, and they'll say,
Literally fully furnished.
yeah. So you go down and
Well,
find
it's like an Airbnb then.
yeah. So
yeah.
except for the prices,
Sure.
Yeah. So I'll give you.
But it's
an
more
example.
long term than short
Yeah,
term.
an Airbnb. The guy
Airbnb
wants
is,
$200 a night.
Yeah.
I find houses for $1,600 a month.
Yeah. That makes sense.
There's another one like House Sitter or something.
Yeah, there's a
where-
couple sites.
Where like wealthy people will pay you or discounted rate. And they don't
Just to
even-
stay at their house.
Tell me
They
where
might
it is.
even
Give
pay
me.
you.
I want a wealthy one about
Yeah,
93.
They might even pay you because like they have pets or something like that, and like they
I was raised by a single mother.
trust.
so-
Yeah.
But it's like trusted house.
I'll be your daddy.
trusted house sitter or something like that. Like if you're like can be a trusted person
Yeah.
and take care
I
of
can
their
be
house.
trusted.
Yeah.
Well-
you look pretty honorable.
Yeah, I'm honorable.
I believe you.
4 months, I'm in and out.
Yeah.
In and out in 4 months.
I told him I've been looking for one with a tan that's like 93 with a lot of money.
Right on the edge.
Right on the edge, right by the water.
One of my favorite places in the Tampa area is St. John's Pass. I love St. John's Pass.
Look at you know.
Although
what?
I heard it.
St.
got-
Pete.
There's a lot of Cajones people that live in Florida for the winter.
There's a lot of New York.
Like my
Yeah.
my
They're
uncle,
spending their pensions in
my
Florida.
uncle, my aunt live down there in the summer, or excuse me, in the winter. My cousin lives down there in the winter. My buddy Al Albin and his wife are down there in the winter. I run into people. I'm like in a bar having a drink, and somebody from Cajones is there. So it's really neat. But I gotta be honest, man. There's something about getting away from the winter as you get older.
That's where I want to be,
Until it
actually.
snows in Florida.
You know what?
A foot.
Did you? Can you believe that in the Panhandle? Holy
I
crap!
call my aunt.
It was like 11 inches
Yeah.
or something.
I call my aunt. She says it's going to be 40 all week. I said, oh, geez, what's it going to be the following week? She goes, 81.
81.
They don't have furnaces down there.
No, they have. They don't have. I don't know
They have
what
heat
she has.
pumps?
Hop. Yeah, heat pump maybe. Some of them have
Maybe.
gas fireplace.
Maybe.
I'll tell you, when I went down in December, it was cold. It was freaking. It was like in the 40s.
I went
at
down
My
one
nighttime.
buddy's in Daytona right now. He said it was 91.
Yeah, it was. Well, it's going to be 90s and 80s all week.
Yeah.
But I was down there when it got to be like 50, and I still couldn't believe how great it was to be in
Well,
50.
yeah, because we're tourists.
I'm
We're
sitting
wearing muscle
outside.
shirts
Yeah, I
down
got
there.
a T-shirt and shorts on. I'm drinking beer.
Everybody
I'll tell
else
you-
is in hoodies and.
So I'll tell you a funny story. So I go to this bar, and it's like, I don't know, 11:30 in the afternoon. Is that afternoon or morning?
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah, so it's 5 o'clock somewhere. So I'm at this bar, and I told you I'm a diabetic, right? So I don't drink beer no more.
Did he tell us that already?
Diabetes.
I drink these neutrals. They're those seltzers with no sugar.
So salsas.
So yeah, so I'm a big tough guy, and I drink these seltzers with no sugar.
Yeah, you look like a tough guy with a cell phone.
And
Sparkling water.
yeah, and the lady says to me, I says, give me 2 more of those. She goes, no, why don't you buy a bucket? It's a lot cheaper. She says they start at happy hour. You'll save a lot of money. I said, yeah, but it's only 11:30. I said, I'm not going to be here for happy hour. She goes, what do you mean? It started at 10. That's when I knew I wanted to go to Florida for the winter.
Yeah.
10 o'clock in the morning, they got a happy hour.
Any great story starts with a Florida man.
Yeah. Now there's a bar.
And it never starts with a salad.
Listen, there's a bar called the Fisherman Shack, and
Where's this in Tampa area?
it's like in the Spring Hill. Yeah, it's in
Yeah,
in that whole
in the area you're saying.
Yeah. So it's Spring Hill, I think it's called, or Hollywood. So I
Spring
think
Hill
it-
sounds.
Well, Hollywood's near
Hollywood,
Miami.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Spring Hill. That's where my uncle lives, Spring Hill.
I want to go to Miami.
So the bar opens at 7 in the morning. It closes at 2 in the morning.
Well,
And if you go, so when the first time I went, my uncle took me over. He goes, where do you see this place? You're going to love it. Because I like the little dive bars. I go in, the ceiling's gone. You go to the bathroom, you don't know if it's a urinal or you're pissing the holes in the wall. It's packed.
Hurricane Derek back in '91.
Listen, it's
It's
packed.
Lieutenant Dang's place.
You can't believe how many people are in there at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Well, there's an old
And they're not,
adage.
these are not like, you come here and locally and they're all the same people from 1965. These people are like, they're all just, what do they call us? Snowbirds. And they're having fun and they're dancing.
Yeah.
Thinking, look at these people, 7, 8, 9.
I so want to go.
Well, there's
to
an old
Florida.
adage: you can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning.
Yeah, that's right. But the great part of drinking all day is that you're in bed by 7 and you never get a hangover because you sleep till the next day at
That's
7.
why you're up at 7 to
That's
go.
why it's
ready to
happy
go.
hour.
The sad thing is that so the last time we went down, we stayed in on
You woke up at 3.
on the East Coast, which
You
was,
do.
which was we went to St. Augustine. Have you ever been there?
No.
Oh, you gotta go check out St. Augustine.
That's the oldest
Really cool.
city in America.
Well, oldest fortified city in America, settled by the Spaniards. But we were in Vero Beach, and there's a place called Captain Harem's in Vero Beach. It's a series of little condos and whatnot, but they have a really cool outside bar with a band every day, and just really easy, laid back, right on the intercoastal with a bunch of docks and boats and sand floor in the place. Like you said, it opened at 10 o'clock. It was packed.
You can't beat it.
And at 10 o'clock, it's closed because everybody goes to bed. It's like
There's
me,
no-
who's a night guy. I'm like, this fucking
So-
blows.
I always was the night owl, right?
I'm a night owl.
because I have
I
insomnia.
hate getting up.
Can't sleep. But when I go down there and you start drinking at 7,
You want to
you
go
have
to bed
no
early?
problem sleeping at 7 at night.
Yeah.
And you sleep all night because you're in a coma.
Yeah.
And then you wake up and you go, hey, that wasn't too bad.
Time for a walk on
Where
the
you
beach.
going? I go, I'm going to the fisherman shack.
Yeah, I'm going to look at the seashell.
7:05.
Catch breakfast.
Yeah, yeah.
I said to
I got a real good breakfast thing here.
Life is a whole different
it's
ballgame.
different. It's
and
different.
back to your earlier point too, like back to the beginning of this podcast when we were talking about the insurance rates and all that. Like you almost,
They're having an insurance problem up there too.
Well, that's why
you
you can't
almost
live down
can't
there.
own.
You can't.
You're so much better off doing what you're doing
can't
and
own.
renting for
Yeah.
for a few months or weeks or whatever it is at a rip than owning. It's just
My
it's
mother
not-
rents
It's just not feasible anymore.
not-
rents a
not
spot
for
for her
4 months.
camper. That's what she stays in her camper all winter long.
There's a place
Can't tax
called
that.
There's a place called Dunedin, Florida.
Dunedin,
Dunedin.
Dunedin. Okay.
Scottish.
Dunedin?
The Scottish. When you're done eating. It's
What's her name?
It's it is like the nicest small little city. It's one of the best places you could ever go. But man, if you
Jeez,
want to buy
Calicorn.
if you want to buy a house down there, you better have $800,000.
Yeah, everything's so expensive.
And then when you buy the 800,000, you better be able to have insurance that's 800,000. So you're talking 5,000 a month.
What do you think's going to happen in California with these fires? You thinking these people can rebuild?
What's going to happen? No, there's going to be some people.
It's going to be I will
Yeah, there's-
sell my land.
There's going
no,
to
a corporation's
And a
gonna
railroad is
a
gonna
corporation's
come right
gonna come in
through
and buy it
that
all.
if,
You're going to be like Adam. You were right.
if you're a fire, let's just say you're a fireman in California, and you inherit one of those pieces of property, right? You're going to have $100,000 a year pension when you hit your 20 years, and that piece of land's probably $5 million.
You're gonna sell.
So you know what you're going to do? You're going to take the $5 million, and you're going to take a $100,000 a year pension that's meaningless in California, and you're going to come up to Saratoga, and you're going to live like a king for the rest of your life with $5 million in the bank, $10,000 a month.
There's
That's
something
what they
missing
owe
in
me.
your equation.
Yeah,
Though. The
that-
really nice weather of California and the shit show of New York.
I talked to a
That's,
couple.
it's only summer for Saratoga.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I talked to a couple of my friends. One of them's a California fireman, and a couple are New York City firemen.
There's a nostalgia.
And they just said we can't. $150,000 a year sounds like a lot of money down here. No, my buddy buys a house in Long Island. It's a little Cape, 2 bedrooms, $850,000, right?
I've seen that quite a bit since COVID. All these Long Islanders and,
Coming up here.
and everybody moving up north.
Yeah, a lot of them like to go up.
Because-
I would say go to Columbia County. Housing
they
in
would
Columbia
buy-
County is
yeah.
out of control because
Well,
of
it
all
depends,
New York,
right? So
Claverack
you go down to
area.
Hudson, it's
yeah.
cheap. You go up to a couple places just out in the farmland.
Yeah, Claverack
Derek
area.
Jeter has a house.
yeah.
They're $10 million.
Yeah. They'd be spending almost $1 million on
East Nassau.
on a
yeah.
house the size of TGM Studios here, and then
That's the
move up.
truth.
Well,
move up
so
here and buy
I,
a brand new house with land. You know.
I really like Flagler Beach, which is between Vero Beach and St. Augustine. I love that area. I just like this really cool beach vibe.
Cheese
and
corn.
and so I have my Zillow set up so whenever property comes up. So lately there's been a lot of properties coming up for sale. 250,000, 300,000, 159,000. They're all mobile homes. So imagine you're paying $300,000 for a freaking mobile home, and on top of that, you still got to pay your freaking lot rent.
Which
So
is
here's the
the
thing.
worst investment.
Now you say
Oh, yeah.
that, but listen, a couple 5 years ago,
It was cheap.
they call them trailers up here, but they're not. They're modular homes.
No, these are axles.
They're
and-
on.
I'm talking about.
But you don't own the
I'm
land that they're on.
Yeah, it's a
Depends.
trailer. It's a trailer park.
If you go to.
Well, the ones I have on here, where you
Right.
rented the
some
lot
of
rent.
you,
Yeah.
there's
If
plenty
you
like,
own land and put one on,
like
yeah,
my
that's
friend,
a house.
Yeah.
my two friends have a spot in Davenport.
I stayed at a condo in
Yeah,
Davenport.
so when you buy in Davenport, it's a trailer park.
at the end of
per se,
192.
But you own
Yeah.
the land, and they put houses.
As a matter, where is it in Davenport? Is it right next to the
I
Holiday Inn
don't-
Resort?
I don't-
Because there's a place right there. I looked at a couple of trailers in there where you actually buy the land
Yeah.
with the trailer on it. It's funny you should say that, but yeah, it's in
But
Davenport.
when you go down to Dunedin, some of these double wide modulars, because they don't have wheels.
I'm not.
Some of these. What did I didn't hear what he said?
when you said you go down to Dunedin, he goes, "I'm not."
You're still eating.
Juice kettle corn.
It's dinner time.
So when you go down to Dunedin, you're not.
But
Those houses that you're talking about, you used to be able to buy the most
cheap. Yeah.
50,000.
Yeah.
And then a lot rent 700. So I used to say, you know what? If I could buy a house, they're gorgeous, 4-bedroom, 2-bath. I mean,
Double wide with a lanai off the
they're
side.
just
Yeah,
beautiful.
absolutely.
I've been in them. I'm like,
We
this
looked
is
at 'em.
nicer than my house. I'd buy this in a heartbeat, 50 grand. And they go, well, the lot rent's 700. And I'm like, okay, 700 a month is like having taxes for the next 30 years.
Yeah. When
It's not that bad of a
for
deal.
life.
The bad deal now,
is the insurance on those things?
well, no, the bad deal now is that they're going for $225,000.
I think you still have your lot rent on top of
And
that.
then you have the lot.
So Gina and I we've been going to Disney probably every year for the last 15 years. If not twice a year. I
We don't
love
have your kind of money.
I absolutely love Disney. I could go there every single day.
Ignore me.
You stay right
So
on.
no.
Disney property.
We vacation cheap all the time. We stay in our car. But so
Disney World or Disneyland?
what's that?
Disneyland. Is in,
Disney
uh,
World. Disney World.
Yeah, Disneyland's
Florida.
in California.
Florida.
right?
Disney World.
The OG,
Yeah, the original.
CIA funded.
So when we first started going down there, because we enjoyed it so much, we did look at those, and they were like $30,000.
That- back then
and
was-
the lot rent was like $300.
It was worth it.
God, I shoot myself in the foot. I
Yeah.
really wish I would have bought back then.
The only problem is that the lot rent still goes up.
Yeah,
But even so,
you never own the property, and that's
No,
the other thing. I
but even
never
so,
liked,
if you
but-
got them double wide for 50 grand and you paid $1,000 a month, it's like up here you'd be paying the same
Yeah.
thing because you have taxes and everything else. The problem is,
COVID has ruined everything.
yeah, the problem is
COVID has-
ruined
has-
everything.
yeah.
Hurricanes ruined
yeah, and
everything.
also the migration of people. A lot of people are moving south,
A lot
and
of people escaping the city.
yeah.
and- yeah.
Yeah.
and I
If you're
think
gonna go
COVID
down
did that
to be-
too.
If you're going to be a snowbird, go rent.
like you're
better off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
best way to do it.
Unless you did it 10 years
Yeah,
ago.
Well,
because-
20,
tell you the
30
truth, I would
years
do what my
ago.
mom does. Actually, I'd get an RV and I'd find a spot.
Yeah,
and
there's
stay
places,
there.
there's people that do that too. I
Yeah,
don't-
that's what she does. She leaves hers there all year round.
Yeah.
She pays lot rent all year round. It's like half price in the summer and full
Yeah,
price.
there-
in the
That
winter.
is the greatest rebel flag because you can't tax it.
Yeah.
No,
And you
They
can
get
move
up
and you
and
can
down.
move when you,
you
want.
get a big enough one, you can write it off as a mortgage.
I actually anyone
And no CDL.
almost anyone you can
CDL.
actually.
Yeah.
If you can stay in it for
Which is
5
scary.
days.
Look, they sell some now that
It's
have
actually
2
pretty
floors.
scary.
My last RV had 3 bathrooms.
Yeah, it's amazing.
3 bathrooms. Had more bathrooms in my house.
I just bought a camper. It's got bunk beds,
Yep. What kind of camera did you get?
28 footer,
Nice.
Well,
Like
how
a bunkhouse.
how big do you need?
Bunkhouse.
28 footer, tow behind,
Nice.
kitchen,
Yeah.
master.
Yeah.
I like the fact that you can say, I think I'm going to go to Newport Richie, and then say, nah, next year I may go down to.
Yeah, that's what I like about
Yeah.
it.
I may go up to Spring Hill or something.
Yeah.
So you can
Or
always.
to a different state altogether.
Well, there's a spot in Maine we like to go to where you literally back up to the beach. Like you wake up and it's you and the beach.
No, well, you can do that in Myrtle Beach, South
Oh
Carolina.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So I stayed at a condo,
Mhm.
and then
That
like
place got destroyed during the last hurricane.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I stayed at this condo, and it was maybe 40 yards to my left was all trailers, right on the ocean.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We stayed there when
So some guy
the
must have-
Apache with the big pier in Myrtle Beach is. We stayed there.
I did the same. I did what you did. I used to go to Myrtle Beach with my family, the kids and everything, probably 15, 16 years in a row.
Did you like the Gay Dolphin?
Did I what?
Did you go to the Gay Dolphin?
What?
The gay
I thought you were
dolphin.
talking about golf.
No, I'm still.
the gay-
I'm not
the-
done eating. I'm,
the gay
I'm
dolphin.
Not done eating.
Dude,
What the hell's
Probably
the
my
gay
mouth.
dolphin?
the gay dolphin is like a three level tchotchke shop right in downtown Myrtle Beach. It's huge.
No, I never been there. I stayed on the beach and drank beer.
So anyway, Sean,
Yeah. I wouldn't put my hand in his popcorn again.
it's a little sticky.
Well, you're done eating.
You're done eating.
I'm
No, he's
done
not. Sweet and salty.
But when I went down,
Jeez, kind of cool.
I could have bought on the ocean, 3-bedroom condo, gorgeous condo, big swimming pool with it, everything else, $49,000, and I go, who the hell is paying $49,000?
I'll take 3.
Yeah, now.
Now they're going for $600.
Yeah.
Buy $600.
I'll tell you, I think what's going to happen though with these insurance companies is there is going to be another bust in Florida
It's gonna be a bust everywhere.
because people can't afford it.
Well, they're already seeing prices drop. Like
Yeah.
I do what you do. On Zillow, I get a list of all the excuse me, places that I like in the
Have
areas.
some of
I
your
like.
beer there.
I had the flu,
You
man.
did a good job on that one.
Look at.
Wow.
I'm
But how the hell did that happen?
I
What-
drank. I had the flu. I told you that. So anyway, I do what you do on that Zillow,
Yeah,
and it's pretty cool because
it is great. It sends you alerts and stuff.
But they're sending me stuff now that is like dropped $25,000.
Well, Florida is massively
The
dropping.
only problem is even that dropping 25,000.
It's still ridiculous.
I'm not going down there to want to spend money and time. I want to like go down there and enjoy my life.
Mhm.
I don't want to be like my house is a money pit.
2-hour plane ride.
Yeah.
Get in, leave when you want to.
You can take.
I think it's $49.
Yeah.
Spirit Airlines.
Well, I don't.
No, not Spirit. What's the
Southwest?
blue and white one there?
That's
the new
well,
one.
they got Breeze.
Frontier. Breeze is the one
Ah.
advertising.
Yeah.
Frontier is sketchy.
But you can also go down on.
Spirit. I thought the Spirit Airline was the one that was really sketchy.
No. What the hell's the other one? It's
You're gonna fly Economy
JetBlue.
Airline. It's
No.
Southwest.
Allegiant.
Legion
yeah.
is sketchy.
You take.
Yeah.
I take Allegiant all the
Listen,
time.
you get what you pay for, all right?
No, it's $29. I have no problem. They give you beer, drinks, and they drop you off in Tampa Bay.
Luggage is extra.
No, if you don't pay I carry on.
Just backpack.
I go down there with 3 pairs of shorts, 3 pairs of sweatpants, 1 pair of pants. That's it.
He doesn't care. He's sitting at the
I
bar.
buy what I need when
you know,
I get
you know,
there.
you know what he said.
That's it.
You know when he said, you don't, you go down there, you don't see the guys that are sitting there like this all day long. That's him down there.
I take.
That's
10
why he
pairs-
takes 3 pairs of pants, 3
Hawaiian
pairs of
shirt
shirt.
open.
But I do take 10 pairs
Oh,
everywhere in case I.
well, I can imagine you with a freaking Hawaiian shirt opened up.
Yeah, that's
Little Don Johnson hanging out.
With a
I don't-
nice cold neutral.
I want to. I said I can live in
There's
flip
a queer.
flops and shorts, but no matter what, I'm not going to the gay dolphin. Right?
Triple decker dog.
Triple
whatever
decker.
it
Triple
is.
decker dolphin.
Now you've been on top of all 3. Right?
Hell, every single floor, man.
Kettle corn.
Actually, if you like tchotchke shit, that's the place to
I don't
go.
even know what that means.
Tchotchke's like knick-knack stuff.
No, what the fuck?
Souvenir shit.
I-
That's why I said I'm surprised you've never.
I've
You
never-
said
what
you
kind
said
of
you went
knick-knack do I
to
want?
Myrtle
That is-
Beach all this
That
time.
is Myrtle Beach, freaking novelty.
Yeah, that's all it is.
never
It's like
bought- I don't-
freaking Lake
no, no.
George on steroids. I hate it.
I have never bought a knick-knack ever.
Actually, riddle me this:
I go down to the pier. I go down to the.
the Apache Pier.
Yeah.
The Apache Pier. So riddle me this: why is it if you go walking the beaches of Florida, you'll never find shark's teeth? Yet they're always.
No, you do.
I've never seen. I
You
always
gotta-
get shark's teeth in freaking Myrtle Beach all the time.
Tons of them.
gotta be
Why
one-
is that?
Because you got to be one of the guys or gals that open up the bars at 7 that are walking the beach at 3 to catch those.
Yeah, where I
sharks. 'Cause
go-
they're already
No.
picked over by the time you and I are waking.
No, what I'm saying is they're there. I mean, I never see a shark's tooth
If you
in
go
Florida.
if you go to the fisherman's club, you'll find human teeth. Okay, because there's always a
They're all
little rumble every once in a while.
falling out of there.
But I was in Myrtle Beach this year, and there
Where'd
was people just walking around with nets, picking up the sand, getting shark teeth.
Yeah.
And when I go to Florida, I don't think anybody gives a shit. They just
Yeah, because like a shark loses like what, like however many.
there's thousands of
yeah.
them all over the
Yeah.
beach.
That's crazy.
But I've never seen anybody.
Catch a nice megalodon one.
That'd be freaking cool.
That would be cool.
Or an octopus beak.
You can get money.
What do you do with them? I can't be bothered with all
You
that.
make a necklace.
Do you want a shark tooth necklace? That was like 1960.
Look at I was like, oh no shit! Look at that.
I have a puka shell necklace made
A
out of
puka shell. Look at my conch.
Look at your what?
Conch.
conch.
As a wool.
Conch.
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 Although I do keep my
I'm not looking at your conch in the third floor of your gay dolphin.
I do keep my
This is my
silver.
last podcast over here.
What is that?
What is it?
Oh, it's a silver.
1898 coin.
No, you get
Half
hit-
dollar silver.
You get hit over the head for that in
Well,
Chicago.
maybe.
All right, so getting back to our original thing we're talking
That's
about.
about 6
What
hours
do you think? What do you think Trump's next move is going to be? Seriously enough, though. You've seen what he's done so far. What's his next
Well, that's
battle?
the greatest thing about Donald Trump. I
You
ain't
never-
got a freaking clue. You'll wake up tomorrow and he'll be signing something. You'll be like, "What the?"
Mount
Five
McKinley.
percent.
Who would have thought of changing Mount
He's
McKinley
gonna try
back
to He probably tried to put his face on one
a
of
dollar
the-
bill or
Yeah,
something?
yeah.
Well, we've been in the since he's been there. It's been like like a reconciliation stage, like where they're recouping all the things that have happened over the last 4 years.
Yeah, trying to put it back.
Yeah.
And then after that, we're going to start going into the justice phase of things.
I think the one thing that turns people off about Trump that he'd probably have more people like him is he's a pompous fuck, right? If I was the president, that wouldn't. If I was the president, that wouldn't happen. There's some things that he should just say nothing about.
Just let go. Yeah,
Yeah,
let it
right.
go.
But he's always got to say, if Donald Trump,
He's a misogynist.
Yes, he loves himself
Yeah.
more. than
And you're
anything.
going to remember what he says.
Yeah, but there's also people like if it wasn't.
Turns you off. It turns
I'll
you
tell
off.
you the truth, if
And
it
whether you
wasn't
like
him-
it or not, the media is going to talk about it.
But if it
and
wasn't
that's
him
half
being,
the battle is that spotlight.
you wouldn't like 95% of the fucking guys that are like him if you were drinking in a bar and that's how they were acting. You'd be like, this guy's an asshole.
Unless he's paying the tab.
It just even if he paid the tab, I'd still say he was an asshole after he paid it.
But thank you.
But then,
But thank you, asshole, for the beer.
thank you for my freaking gay drink.
Am I wrong? Am I wrong about that?
I find.
It's a return to merit-based system.
Well, he's a
I love
he's a
that.
meritocracy guy.
No, there's
you
no
know?
doubt. But don't you think that he loves himself so much that sometimes you just say, "What a."
But that's Donald Trump, though. He's
I
always
get
been
it.
like that.
I'm not saying that
Yeah.
that it's.
But I agree with you. It is a turn off to a lot of people.
Yeah, when I hear
The point is, people are done with lip service.
yes, but forget about
Your standard politician.
you got to take the people who are not paying attention to the politics and just watching the man, right? Because a lot of people don't get deep into politics like us. They're just watching the guy.
And most people don't pay
Those-
attention at all.
Those people who are watching him that are not like Trump fans or political fans or conservatives, whatever. It's easy to say the guy's an asshole. I'm sorry, it is. There was times when I would say, "What an asshole! Why do you got to blow yourself on TV? Why can't you just say?"
Blow himself. There's no way he's doing that.
And I would say a good majority of the people aren't paying attention to anything at all. And they are literally just taking the opinion of their
The person.
closest people to them that
agree. I
that
agree.
do pay attention, and whether you're good or bad, or however you want to look at it in the spectrum,
I just like the
that's
way
what
he.
they're basing their opinions on.
I just like the way
And then
he
you
has
pick that
them-
one ideology, the identity politics. It's like, well, I believe, transgender should, have their own month. Or
I just
something,
want Donald. I just want Donald J. Trump to do good. Shut up all of the haters, but it'll never happen because his demeanor sometimes
gets to him.
makes people dislike him as a person.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with gay people, right?
I don't think. He
But I
does
don't
I don't think
wanna-
he does either.
But I don't want to watch them in the fucking parade wearing their thong
No,
on
I
backwards.
agree with you.
Right?
How,
So-
how, how
so
can
that's
you
why-
want to be treated as my equal but have your own special month
That's
and your own
right.
special
And
day
I'm
and your
saying
own
the same
special
thing
parade?
about Donald Trump. I don't. If they really knew the guy, they wouldn't hate him, but they hate his antics sometimes, and that's why he doesn't have a following even twice as big as he has. Because I thought to myself, this guy could have the biggest following in the whole.
I think he does.
No, he didn't win by the most numbers ever.
He won by the most a
think he
Republican
did.
ever won.
I think he got well
Republican,
over
but
100.
I'm not judging.
But it's the machines. We will never know because of the machines.
I just know a lot of people that hate him for his demeanor and the way he.
The
acts
problem is
versus how good of a-
the problem is, Sean. You look at half the people that possibly didn't vote for him. They had no idea what they were voting
No,
for.
I look at people like my father, who I have great respect for and love,
Sure.
and I think he's one of the smartest guys, and he's You know, he's a rational man, hates the guy.
What's a Democrat? Always a Democrat.
Well, I don't even know if it's that he's a Democrat as much as he just doesn't. He says, I'm so sick of the guy fucking talking about himself. Or Donald Trump. Some people are turned off by that.
I agree. That was my biggest
that's
problem
his
with him the
brand.
first time around.
Yeah, and I wish they would stop worrying about that. Because I say to my father, hey, Dad, sometimes you got to be fucking wacky to be a guy like that. You do have to have balls and be nuts to walk in front of all the other leaders and push them out of the way.
Yeah.
So you can be walking in the front of the line, right? Sometimes I think you got to be a little off your rocker to be a great leader because you have to have courage and balls, which some people don't have.
No, he's not a perfect man.
No.
That's one of Elon Musk's guys.
I guess what I'm trying to say is that his demeanor is what makes people like him less, not his politics and
Or
not
more.
what he does.
It can go either way.
He's
We all hear what you're
acquired
saying.
Taste, so
Yeah, he's a required taste.
And hopefully it's the results
he's a sour
that
patch
that
Kid.
win
People
him
hate him at first, and then they start liking
If you care about your life and what he can do to make your life better, you gotta like him, whether he's an asshole or not, right? There's bosses that I had in my life. I go, I hate this guy, but man, I wouldn't want to be next to anybody else if my life is on the line.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, Trump's one of my favorites, and I don't listen to half the shit he says.
Yeah, he's not one of my favorites. I mean, I think he's one of my favorite presidents as far as getting things done, and the fact that he does what he says he's going to do.
I think that's why he has such high approval ratings.
Yeah.
Because he is doing exactly what he said he was going to do.
As a man, I wouldn't want to hang around with him. He'd get on my nerves in about 10 minutes.
I bet you he's not like that in real life.
Well,
Apparently, he's one of like the most generous and
Yeah.
kindest guys you've
I don't
ever
know.
met.
I talked to some people that know him quite well.
Okay.
Sweeney and them guys. And they say he's a great man.
Yeah.
So,
I think he has a certain persona he puts out there, and he has a totally different persona in real life. And the only reason why I say this, look at his family, look at his kids, look at his grandkids. I would say he's more in line with the way they're like than what you see on TV.
And I've heard people that have met Hillary, and she has obviously the polished politician persona,
I met her a lot.
and she is one of the most nastiest people you could ever be around, like off
I
camera.
guess maybe
But you know what I mean?
maybe I'm not getting my point across as good as I'm trying to.
No, I get what you're saying.
I'm just saying that there would be so many more people that would like him.
Yeah.
If we didn't judge
But I don't
him
think it
just by
is-
his demeanor.
For his purpose, because they all play a purpose. This is, we're living in a movie here. His points and spotlights wouldn't be focused where they, have been if he was just the straight-laced politician, minding his P's and Q's, and quiet.
I'm not even talking about that. I'm not. I don't think he's. I think he's a great politician. I think he's a brilliant guy. I think he gets people.
I don't think he's a politician.
I do. I think he's quite the politician. He may not have started out as a politician.
He's funded him.
I don't know if he's a politician, more of a business person.
Well,
it's always about a deal with him.
I promise you, once you get in politics, you become a politician, or you don't go nowhere.
Well, I did notice. One thing I have to say with Donald Trump, he has changed quite a bit.
Yeah.
Because I look at today in his press conference,
He was pretty rough in the beginning.
in his press conference with the Indian Prime Minister today. Here he is telling the Prime Minister exactly what he's going to do. But at the same time, India is one of our closest allies. He's our good friend.
I'm gonna fuck you, but we're good friends.
That's a politician right there.
He's a politician.
Even in Israel, he caught Netanyahu by surprise. He was doing a press
The
conference.
Gaza Strip.
And he's like, yeah, and we're going to do this, and and Netanyahu's like, we'll try.
But the thing is, it's looking at things in a totally different way. It hasn't worked this way for 30 goddamn years. Let's try something radically different.
Look, being a politician is not a bad word. It's not being a politician that's the problem. It's the politics that's the problem. Being a politician just means what? You're in the arena of government and an elected official. The politics is the problem. The shit that they do.
The problem I have with politics and politicians is you never know the truth.
Well, that's the
That's the one thing I like about Trump is if he doesn't like you, he'll tell you, I just don't like you. Did you see the one he was on Larry King Live? And he's talking and he goes, can you back up? Your breath really stinks. Did anybody tell you that?
And he smiles.
I mean,
Oh, don't worry.
would I ever say that? Absolutely not.
You gotta be a little fucked up.
But again, I think for me, at this point in my life and politics, I like the fact that he's not
I'll
a
take it.
politician.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Tell me you don't like me. Tell me what you can do to make things work. I don't need you to say my esteemed colleague on the left. You don't fucking like the guy. He's not your esteemed colleague.
I can agree to this, but
I don't want you to say on me and rub shit on
he's
me.
a politician now, believe me.
I think he's changed a lot.
Well, he has no choice because you know what?
He's learned.
You can't even move your own people if they all hate you.
Yeah.
So he's a politician, and there's nothing wrong with that. He's a politician that you can look at and say, I like what he's doing, I like how he's doing it, I like he's getting stuff done. And on this side, you can look at him and say, what a fucking pompous asshole, I can't stand him, and I never vote for him. And that's the problem about people. They vote for people they like
Instead of people who are going to be good for them.
and that's why local politics has placed so many cities in bankruptcy and sent them down the toilet because you elect people not based on their capabilities, but you go, oh, I like Joe. He's a nice guy. Oh, I like Pete. He's a nice guy. Well, neither one of them know anything about what they're going to do, and then they get in there.
And that's why we talked about before, is, why people are captivated by these 30-second clips
Yeah.
Yeah.
as opposed to watching the 2-hour interview.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that 2-hour interview is going to show you a whole different side
Absolutely.
of somebody, but you're going to watch that 30-second clip, and that's going to be your mantra now.
No, you're absolutely right.
This is your
but
mantra.
think about local politics.
Which is all news media is just headlines and clips.
If you knew the guy running for the mayor of wherever you live, and you don't know the other guy, and your brother hung out with this guy, you're going to vote for that guy. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
It's the way it is. That's why on small level politics, you don't always, 95% of the time, I think you get the shittiest people.
Because who you know is your friend of
Because
your
who
friend.
you know, right? Your friend of your friend of your friend.
But speaking of that, the person that's done, I think, the biggest change since he's been elected is John Fetterman.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit!
Is he a body double?
I mean,
Now, you know what?
I think he's a conservative.
It's hard to tell because you didn't know what he was before he got there.
Correct.
Showing up at
Correct.
the inauguration in a
You know what
car.
I mean? I got to be honest with you. I think he disrespects the institution, which
Yes,
pisses me
I
off.
have a big problem
Yeah,
with that.
right.
Well, so does Elon Musk, though.
But Elon Musk ain't a
He's
senator.
not an elected official.
Yeah, he's not a senator.
True, but you don't go to the Oval Office wearing a freaking T-shirt
But you know,
and have your kid crawling all over you.
Yeah.
Sweatpants and shorts.
the senator of the United States, he should be
Quick sec.
That way.
he should be dressed in appropriate attire. That's just my.
Well, actually, you know what? Take 2 seconds. We're gonna call it.
It's only 12 o'clock.
11:30.
Is it?
11:30. Folks, I hope you've enjoyed our little podcast here. We've had a good time chit-chatting. As usual, we always meander, the three of us, and we get into some battles and discussions, but
This
we're all
could
friends.
Keep going.
And we always have a good time. When are we going to do this again? When's the next one?
See you next Thursday.
Thursday. Thursday?
That's a date.
Today.
Oh.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy
Happy
Valentine's
Valentine's
Day.
Day.
Remember your ladies.
Amen. Now, do you have this on a